Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5, the Sports Hub. Paisley Media Group Station. Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Well, the Celtics did not make a trade during the first round of the NBA draft last night, so they kept the 28th overall pick and selected 6'6" Spanish swingman Hugo Gonzalez. He's 19 years old and just spent last season playing for the Real Madrid basketball team. He is expected to come stateside and play here this winter. The Celtics also have the second overall selection in the second round of the draft tonight. Up at the top of the first round, as expected, Dallas took Cooper Flagg, number 1 overall. After that, Dylan Harper, VJ Edgecombe, Con Knipple, and Ace Bailey rounded out the top 5. Red Sox got swept by the Angels yesterday, 5-2 in Anaheim. Trevor Story's 2-run single in the top of the first gave the Sox an early lead, but they had just 1 hit after that and 3 hits for the game. They wind up 3-6 on their road trip. They've lost 5 straight. They host Toronto tomorrow night. Alex Cora said before the game Alex Bregman isn't expected back until after the All-Star break, and Cutter Crawford's now out for the season. He needs wrist surgery. And Nashville SC forward Sam Surridge had a hat trick last night, and he led his team to a 3-2 win over the New England Revolution in Foxborough. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com for 15% off your drive-through oil change at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, the official oil change of busy people. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
New England plays here.
Ball down the right side, there's a separation. Yeah. Touchdown pass. Yes. Perfect dive from Drake May.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Toucher
When has that been necessary to fact check?
and Hardy
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
on 98.5.
Hey there.
Sarge GPT loading up.
Let me hear you say, boo, boo, boo.
Crush me, mommy.
Say my name.
I'm a robot.
I'm the son of the Pope.
I'm a goddamn drag!
Yeah, good luck, dude.
Nothing like a good tushy.
I love you. And I think you know that.
Excuse me?
Toucher and Hardy
Watch Daddy and Uncle Freddie.
Knocking back some fence and having some fun.
on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's go.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy, Town Fair Tire Studios. You can watch us on YouTube. Subscribe to 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube to get involved with that. A big show on the way today. Everyone's got NBA draft fever. Congratulations to that town in Maine that got Cooper Flagg taken in that draft. It's
The little high school that could, you know? What are the odds?
They had coverage of that high school gym. They had coverage of a local bar. They had coverage of everybody. Everyone who stayed out, all 3,000 people in that town.
I mean, I can imagine it's quite a big deal. I mean, I can't. A town that size in Maine doesn't have many people of great note coming out of it.
But it wasn't like he played his entire high school career there.
He's
He
from
played-
there, but he's from there. I
Okay.
mean, like if you went, you're from Natick.
Yeah.
I mean, how often do people talk about the Fluties?
Often.
Yeah, and that's
They
a
do.
suburb of Boston where you have something.
Yeah.
So take that, move it 200 miles to the middle of nowhere, and then see how much you care. That's like, there's a guy, YouTube's a very strange thing. And a Farmington Hills Harrison game from when I was in middle school came up. A full Farmington Hills Harrison game featuring the other
Mill
team.
the Thrill Coleman.
Featuring Mill the Thrill Coleman, which,
Oh, wow.
which was
Whoa.
now Farmington Hills Harrison was the other school in my city. It was North Farmington and Farmington Hills Harrison, and Farmington Hills Harrison, for some reason, it was really hard to explain. Were a national football juggernaut, and North Farmington was not good. Strange. That all of a sudden right when it got to high school, these kids all started moving into the area. It's very strange how that happened. I don't imagine it's like that anymore with the way the private schools are, but for some reason this came up, and there's this guy, Mill Coleman, who Farmington Hills Harrison, at least according to that video, was like the 6th ranked team in the country. And it was all because of this quarterback. And so I looked up his career because it just came up. I watched like two minutes of it, and then I looked up his career. And he went to Michigan State, and they turned him into a wide receiver, and he was like, okay. He played 4 years, and, he started, but he wasn't great or anything. And I'm thinking, and Hardy can name Throw Coleman off the top of his head.
That's impressive.
And, I mean, I went to high school with Chris Webber. Shane Battier went to my high school, not North Farmington, this is Country Day. But, like, and there's major league players that have come out of Farmington Hills, and there's people in the NBA that the kid that was a senior at Michigan State, the guard that was a starter on that Elite Eight team, he was from North Farmington. Like, there's kids, but you remember Throw Coleman. Because he was a big deal, a huge deal. Henson, the one who took Brady's job at University of Michigan, he didn't grow up he grew up in Brighton, Michigan, but he was such a big star. He was in high school when I was in college, but he was such a big star.
Now you make a very good point. I still remember when I was a kid, some of the great athletes. Ramil Robinson, for example. Great player at Michigan, won a national championship.
Yeah, and I'm sure you were around him a lot.
Cambridge Ridge and Latin. Well, I do remember he single-handedly beat my high school in the playoffs his senior year.
Yeah.
But, I remember great athletes like that, sure.
John had his fingers all over those Cambridge teams. You should have seen the way he treated Ewing. Not nice. John kind of led the charge with that. He was the first guy to bring fruit to a game. It was not nice.
Wow. I can't believe you did that, John.
Yeah.
Not nice.
Those were different times.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy how Ewing was treated around here.
It was not good.
It's
not good at all.
No, it's really bad.
No,
It set the city back quite a bit.
Actually, that's very true.
So woke this, woke that. I'll tell you what, if I was involved with a high school and kids were throwing bananas on the court during a high school basketball game, I'd have a riot squad move everyone out of there, and I would be like, no, I'd stop the game right before I saw the first thing. I mean, you can't, for so many reasons, moral and otherwise. I mean, forget PR, just morally, and if I'm the city or the state, I'm like, I can't have this. That's the kind of thing I know, fairly or unfairly, it's going to get the reputation of being a racist town. That you're taking a kid, and you're throwing bananas at him as he plays basketball. I'm going to guess does not speak to the racial tolerance of the people. That's great. That wasn't that long ago. You were in high school. No, you weren't in high school.
Right before that, yes. I was in middle school when that happened.
Yeah. Like you were around.
We better watch ourselves here. Can you imagine being there, like having a conversation? You know what? People might get the wrong idea about us. we might want to get a tourniquet on this thing.
And I wonder how many teachers went, "Oh, they're just kids. Like let them throw the bananas."
Yeah. They don't know any better.
Was that on the news?
I don't remember.
Was that like a huge scandal?
It was a thing that I knew about. I didn't live in Cambridge, but I knew about it, but I don't know if it made the news or not. I don't remember that part of it.
That's insane that we were alive. Like it's so strange how culture moves. That I mean, I can't imagine now that you would with camera phone. I mean, there's video of it, so I don't know. You didn't need camera phones. I mean, I imagine they were taping.
Yeah.
Ewing's games, considering he was a phenomenon. I mean, but that got him to Georgetown. I would imagine that had a lot to do with him going to Georgetown. Is because of the coach over there at Georgetown probably sold him to school. Like, look,
John Thompson.
I know you're thinking about staying and playing at BC. Right. However,
oddly enough, you don't want to stay? Here, come on down to D.C.
Yeah, it's funny because Ewing came to I do know this, and I'm just telling everyone what they probably already know, but there's, when Ewing was in high school, he came to BC, and he got this, like, standing ovation and people chanting for him to come. Mm-hmm. And it was like, oh, he's not going to go to BC. No.
Little did we know how much he wanted to get.
You lost him with the banana thing.
Yeah.
The banana thing lost him.
That irked him.
Yeah. I think he'd rather leave town. I don't know. I mean, I call him petty, but I don't know if he wants to.
Only come back when forced to by the schedule. That's it.
And I'm not positive Georgetown maybe even played ever in Boston unless they set up a special game.
Big East, right?
Oh, that's right. I apologize to you, Jonathan. That's right. That was not the ACC. That was the Big East. I apologize.
Many games at Boston College.
That's right. I apologize. I forgot all about the Big East. Mike Gorman, if you're listening, and I'm sure you are at 6:11 in the morning, I apologize to your legacy as you were the voice of the Big East. The Big East, a little before my time, a little bit. The height of the Big East, I was an elementary school child. I'm much younger than you, John. Now, I was a big Georgetown fan as a kid because that's all I knew. Georgetown was the only college program I knew. They were the only one on TV.
Well, there was that, and when you're like real little and watching something, it doesn't take much to capture your imagination or just capture your interest. It could be something as simple as, hey, gray T-shirts underneath the jerseys. That's cool.
Right.
I think we should do that.
Yeah, the gray T-shirts underneath the jersey.
You know what? That was a cool thing.
But Chris
Let's
Mullen
start
wore
doing
a T-shirt under his jersey at St. John's. You don't see me running around with Chris Mullen. I mean, I had a Georgetown starter jacket. I had everything going on.
Yeah, St. John's went to the Final Four, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Chris Mullen, if you ask people in New York City, I mean, they go on and on and on and on and on about how good he was.
Back then, when Ewing was making his decision, Boston College was really, really good, too. They had a point guard named Michael Adams, and they made the Elite Eight of the NCAA tournament, and they lost to that Houston team that would ultimately be Phi Slamma Jamma, I think. Something like that.
The Houston team was Phi Slamma Jamma.
Okay. Phi Slamma Jamma. Before they really, really got good, they beat BC in the Elite Eight.
Okay.
Yeah. And lost to North Carolina the next game. But anyway, BC was getting more to your point, Hardy. All of us who were really young watched Boston College play really well, and that's how we learned about college basketball in the area.
Yeah, Boston College was okay. Yeah, when I was a kid, even after that Boston College was okay. I remember when they had that dopey center, Dudley. Wait, is it Dudley? Who was the big dopey center that played in the NBA forever that was on Boston College?
I don't remember. Who are we talking
He played
about
forever.
here?
He was a journeyman. He played for – it was not Chris Dudley. Who was the – you know who I'm talking about.
God.
He played it – and every time I would go to an NBA game, he would be there and playing. And I'd be like, how the hell is this guy
Curley, Billy Curley.
Okay, Billy
Curley, yes.
Yeah, I remember him.
He was BC had their own version, a much less successful version of the Fab Five. They had one great recruiting class, and Curley was the centerpiece. He was the guy, wasn't he the guy that beat North Carolina in the NCAA tournament? I'm trying to remember, in the Sweet 16 or the second round or something like that.
All I know is Michigan State had a kid that would have, had he played for BC, would have been the Doug Flutie of basketball in Massachusetts. If he would have played at BC, Scott Skiles.
Oh, yeah.
He's about a 6'2" white kid.
Kid. Yeah.
Doing bumps off the back of the chairs on the bench.
Point guard. I remember that guy.
Just getting DUIs every day.
Yeah.
Running that game just like your name was Scott Skiles.
He had spunk.
What's that from?
That's a Tribe Called. That's a Fife rhyme. Better yet, Magic or even Karl Malone. Regardless who it is, your aim is to bone.
He says Scott Skiles in that?
He does. He drops a Scott Skiles reference in that.
Fred's going to look it up. Fred's fact-checking you right now.
That's okay. He can do that. I'm confident in my knowledge of the lyrics.
Fife was very into
Tribe Called Quest.
into basketball.
That's right.
What song is that? I think it's The Bone.
Yeah.
It's not Bugging Out.
No, it's listen to...
is that Low End Theory?
After 10, do your thing at 12 o'clock, and then you go again. Here comes round one, ding, and there goes round two. Now tell me what am I supposed to do? That's a date classic example of a date rape. Okay. There's a Scott Skiles reference in there. You'll find it.
Well done.
I don't. It's the infamous date rape. Stupid.
That's see.
Not to be confused with the great Sublime song.
Ugh.
Date rape.
Oh, yeah. You know the signs. You get buck wild, run mad games if your name is Scott Skiles, or better yet, Magic, or even Colin Malone. Oh, interesting.
Okay. All right.
So Scott Skiles was a can-do white kid with a coke problem, so he would have been
It wasn't a problem. He straightened himself out. It's fine.
He played for the Magic.
NBA career, yeah.
He played for the Magic. He was one of the first kids on the Magic. He loved getting DUIs when he was at Michigan State, and they loved not caring about him. You get DUIs and people. I think he got a DUI like his first week at Michigan State.
I believe Scott Skiles holds the NBA record for assists in a game.
Was he at 30?
Yes, exactly 30.
Yeah, he played at Michigan State when I was really little, but a little bit enough to get on my radar. But I don't remember Michigan or Michigan State being that big a deal when I was a little kid. That I don't remember. I remember Georgetown being a big deal, and I remember not caring about college football. That was the era of the quarterbacks that didn't throw.
Yes.
Michigan was were big fans of having quarterbacks that didn't throw, and a bad coach that everyone loved. It's Bo Schembechler. I remember one of my good friends' dads he went to John Hopkins, but he was this big Michigan fan, big Michigan fan.
Okay.
And he loved Bo Schembechler. He loved him. And he would to the point where he had stuff of Bo Schembechler's in his house. It was weird. And he didn't go there or anything or know the guy or play for him. He just loved Bo Schembechler. Maybe because he was a nom or something, this guy. Uh-huh. And the disciplinarian stuff of it. But and then I started, when I got older, looking back, and I went, oh, this guy must have been quite a coach. And it's no. Bo Schembechler wasn't a good coach at all. They barely winning Big Ten championships. He was there for 30 years. They won 3 Big Ten championships. Him and that other psycho at Michigan, at Ohio State. 2 old psychos going at it.
Woody Hayes beating a little stuffing out of each other.
He was 194, 48, and 5 in his career at Michigan. It's not bad.
Yeah, who were they playing? That's when you didn't play anyone out of conference.
Yeah, he had to play all those tough Michigan State teams.
Exactly. How many Big Ten championships?
By the way.
How many national championships?
I'll get to that in a second.
Because it starts with 0.
Picking on Scotty Skiles for getting all those DUIs. They're barely DUIs. It's like getting a DUI on Com Ave or Beacon Street when you're going to Boston College. You're practically on campus.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they really count.
Well, for him to get one and then to let it stick had to be quite an alcohol level. How many national championships did Bo Schembechler get?
All right. Accomplishments and honors.
Yes.
2 Mid-American in 1965 and 1966.
Before Michigan, yeah.
13 Big Ten championships.
Okay.
And then many awards, including the Sporting News College Football Coach of the Year in 1985. The Big Ten Coach of the Year, 6-time Big Ten Coach of the Year. The Walter Camp Coach of the Year. That was back in '69. We all remember that.
Hell yeah, I do. That's that year was the reason that came out as a position. No national championships. And 0 yards passing.
They finished, I'm looking at it, they finished ranked 2nd in the poll once with Jim Harbaugh as his quarterback in 1985.
I wonder if he really let Harbaugh let loose. Yeah, they had to play those Michigan State teams with Percy Snow.
I saw Percy Snow as a freshman rolling through campus in a brand new Pathfinder. I'm like, man, he must really work hard in the offseason, have a summer job.
Well, that I do remember is Michigan State made the Rose Bowl because I had a friend whose sister went to Michigan State and was back for Christmas vacation, and I remember going, Michigan State has a football team? Going, huh? They have a football team? And then because they were in the Rose Bowl and sitting at my friend's house and watching it.
Yeah.
Well, his sister was the one who came home drunk one night and took a bottle of Tylenol. She's like, I don't know what I'm going to say. And she took a and I'll still remember, nothing happened to her.
Yeah.
But she just took this, a handful of Tylenol, just poured it all in her hand and went, ah.
That's not great. I hate to admit it because I despise most things having to do with the University of Michigan, all things really, but that stadium, like going to a game there, and it's not like Michigan State football was a joke, 80,000 people, 86,000, and it was fun. Mm-hmm. But when we would go to Michigan for the Michigan State games, I think I went to 2. It's just different. It's 110,000 people. Yeah. It's kind of sunk down into the ground a little bit.
Kind of. You go up and it's like a 1-story arc.
Yeah.
Like to walk in these arcs, and then it's just straight down.
And
it's
again,
a hole in the ground.
It pains me to admit it, but to this day, like that helmet coming out of the tunnel, for my money, the best helmet in college football.
I wish we'd had at least a piece of that here. BC, you guys have been to that stadium. That's about 15,000 more than it was when BC was good. I mean, they had to undergo a renovation in the 90s just to get it there.
I have season tickets this year for BC football. And my hope is that I can pay them off by selling the Notre Dame tickets, which I better be able to, because the way people pretend to like Notre Dame around here, I better be able to.
You should be fine.
I better be able to fit.
I've been to Beaver Stadium once. That's 70,000.
I've been to Beaver Stadium,
but I mean nothing like what you're talking about.
Beaver Stadium's louder.
Okay.
Yeah, Michigan's about as quiet as 108,000 people can be. It's not loud, and part of that's the way it's constructed. But no, Beaver Stadium's a much more rowdy affair.
Part of it is all their stupid alum there, all the doctors and lawyers who don't want to, hurt their voices for, going to save lives and argue cases to the Supreme Court the next day. Bunch of nerds.
You want to get laid, you don't walk onto Ann Arbor.
Hell
you walk
no.
right onto East Lansing.
Do you want to have any fun at all? Don't go to Ann Arbor.
Yeah, if you want a girl that's above a 6, a Michigan 6, which is like a Boston 8. But if you want above a Michigan 6, you go into Michigan State.
That's right.
Because they got that not so smart that you can't be hot. You're hot enough that
I co-sign on that 100%.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the girls in Michigan State are 1,000,000 times hotter. Michigan State has the hottest girls out of any school in Michigan, and because then you get too dumb, like out of that, and the quality of woman goes down. But Michigan, it's all dorks from around the country. The Michigan State's just hot chicks from the area. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
The show for you, Toucher and Hardy, the Sports Hub.
Did you catch a game last night?
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. What happened last night is brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, where your hair doesn't have to be a game of what happened. So change your lettuce and change your life with Dr. Matthew Lopresti at 1-800-GET-HAIR. What's going on, Hardy?
At the Barclays Center last night, it was the 2025 NBA Draft. And the Dallas Mavericks selecting first shocking the world with actually landing the number one pick. Shocked the world again with their first overall selection.
With the first pick in the 2025 NBA Draft, the Dallas Mavericks select Cooper Flagg from Duke University.
Who saw it coming? Cooper Flagg going number one overall to the Dallas Mavericks last night.
And when he was interviewed, they only talked to his mom. His father just sat in the back. He kept trying to say something.
My wife noticed the same thing. I think you and Marcy could watch sports together. You often notice the same things.
I watch it like a woman who doesn't do sports radio.
who doesn't actually like sports.
Yeah, we come from the same headspace.
Cooper Flagg, of course, from Maine, and then went to the Montford Academy with the number one overall pick. And now the debate begins as to how much of an impact he will have year one with the Mavericks. Crazy speculation. Questions like, will he average over 20 points a game as a rookie? If you watched Cooper Flagg at all, and I think if you understand his game, you know that he's great at doing different things and impacting the game in different ways. And depending on the game, it might be. Now, he's scored a ton, obviously, but when he reaches the next level, you might find him in a lot of games where he's just a facilitator or rebounding or even playing some defense. I think he's going to be a very good NBA player, but to think that he's automatically going to jump right in and average 22 a night, I think that's probably a silly expectation.
Well, he could, but it just depends on who's playing for the Mavericks. If they're healthy, then maybe not, because he won't be required to. But if they're not, then he could if he wants to.
Well, they don't have Kyrie next season, so I think it's a safe bet that he will. He averaged, 19, 20 points a game and only 30 minutes a game at Duke last season.
Yeah,
19.2.
Yeah, he'll average. I bet you he'll average over 20 points a game with no Kyrie in the lineup. So, yeah, I bet you that he does.
Well, all right. Let's move on. And Cooper, how's it feel?
Feeling amazing. It's a dream come true, to be honest. I wouldn't want to share it with anybody else.
You wouldn't want to share it with anybody else?
This is mine. Mine alone. Mine.
Well, I guess his under on the assists.
Wow.
What a selfish
I wouldn't want to
fool.
share it with anybody else. Honest, I wouldn't want to share it with anybody else.
You mentioned sharing it with anybody else. We've got the flag 5 here.
Yeah, that was unfortunate, the flag 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then not to mention, she says father and mother and father, but she doesn't even mention the other two jabronis sitting back there.
Mm-hmm. How much have these people meant in getting you here?
I mean, I wouldn't be here without these people right here and all my people back home in Maine. 5 people up in the box up there. They're here for me, and I wouldn't be here without them. So it just means so much to see everybody here and supporting me.
All right. A lot of support.
Yeah.
Cooper Flagg. Spurs picking second last night.
With the second pick in the 2025 NBA Draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Dylan Harper from Rutgers University.
Now, I can take you through my thought process when he was interviewed. I said, who is this little hottie Asian lady? That's his mom. And then they showed his father is Ron Harper, which I sadly didn't know.
No.
But Ron Harper, good for him. Ron Harper must be 20 years older than this woman. And
easily,
for some reason, he wasn't standing up with them. And maybe they don't get along so well anymore. But I got to give you, Dylan Harper's mom was really hot. So congratulations. And with 2 very tall kids, because the brother was there too. So Ron Harper's genes overwhelming everything, because she was tiny. She's like 5'2". She had a very sexy dress on. It was exciting for me.
I didn't
Marcy, did Marcy notice that?
No.
Oh.
No.
Probably stopped watching after the first pick.
Watched the first couple of picks, and I was back and forth out on the there's grilling the burgers last night.
Yeah, you gotta get out there.
And they're too thick for my liking.
Yeah, you got to smash them down.
But then you start messing around with the juices and all this stuff, and I like a cheap burger. I like a cheap burger that's already frozen, not necessarily a Bubba burger, but you can get other kinds. This was a fresh like butcher shop burger. I'm like, what are we doing? Well, who are we? The Rockefellers here with these big burgers? Now I got to stand out here for, twice as long, making sure they get cooked all the way through. And hopefully when you bite into it, it's not like that spray of hot grease coming up and burning your face. What are we doing? Plus, I'm missing the draft out here too long standing at this grill.
But that's your job as a man, is you got to grill.
Yeah.
She's perfectly capable. It's one of three things I can do food prep wise. So that's.
Oh, give yourself a shot.
I really can't.
You could put food into a bowl and then stir it.
Yeah, that doesn't count as cooking. All right.
That's exactly what cooking is.
Let's skip down to the Hornets pick here at number 4 overall.
With the 4th pick in the 2025 NBA Draft, the Charlotte Hornets select Con Knippel from Duke University.
Outside of the first couple, and of course who the Celtics might be looking at, was Con Knippel expected to go at 4 overall?
Yes.
I only saw Con Knippel going 4 yesterday.
No.
Before I had it lower.
You should have heard the way people rhapsodizing about him yesterday. Best shooter in the draft, best catch and shoot guy. He's shot 41% from 3. Con Knippel was going to go in the top 5. He's supposed to be like a sure thing. He's big. He can shoot. All of these things.
One person who did not expect to go at 5 overall was Ace Bailey.
This was my favorite part.
Yeah, this was the best part.
This was the best part of the draft right here.
Oh, wait a second. Do we have Ace Bailey in here? I thought I did.
Okay.
We'll speak for it ourselves for a moment. So he was doing everything he could to position himself away from Utah.
Yes,
he did.
He didn't want to go third, obviously, to Philadelphia, but had 3 other teams he wanted to play for, none of which were Utah. And Danny Ainge is like, surprise, I'm taking you at 5. And the look on Ace Bailey's face when he shook the commissioner's hand was fantastic.
Yeah, maybe you should have gone to Philadelphia. Maybe things could have been worse.
He was so disappointed.
It was
great.
I can't imagine a place where he would least like to go than Utah. And he could have gone to Philadelphia. He could have been in Philadelphia, right by Rutgers.
Get on a plane. That's all he had to do.
Right by Rutgers. He chose to go to Rutgers. He could be right by Rutgers.
Yep.
Plane, bus. I mean, you can take a bus from Rutgers, get there lickety split.
Sure.
Get there in an hour and a half. Now he's out there stuck in Utah, and he fits in well with them too. So I don't know what he's complaining about, but yeah, he maneuvered himself out of money and then into a place he didn't want to be. So congratulations to Ace Bailey.
4 years. So congratulations.
What is explain to me like his mindset in not doing the pre-draft workouts and all this stuff.
Well, first of all,
in terms of positioning and getting where he wanted to go.
One of the ladies on the broadcast said, it's not that big a deal. I mean, you can see enough of these kids in college that you don't have to do the interviews or the workouts. And I'm thinking, huh? Yeah, of course you do. What are you talking about? They want to talk to you. Are you out of your mind? What a stupid thing to say. And no, he wanted to go to Washington. Where did he want it? Washington?
New Orleans, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, of course, Brooklyn had 8 picks, but their first pick wasn't until 8. So I don't know if he was going to last that long. The word was, again, reading all of this, he wasn't going to go any lower than 6. The Wizards loved him. So, it was going to be either Utah at 5 or the Wizards at 6. So he wasn't going to last until Brooklyn.
All right,
Brooklyn took all those picks.
Here he is.
Yeah, I know.
With the 5th pick in the 2025 NBA Draft, the Utah Jazz select Arius Ace Bailey from Rutgers University.
Oh, hear the crowd. Whoa!
Yeah, because that was the only.
Go there.
I know. It's fantastic.
Like in the top 10, I mean, in terms of big surprises, I think that was really the only big surprise.
Yeah. There were no trades until number 10 overall. That's the thing. Everyone in the top 9 took their own pick, or the pick they were supposed to take. So 10, you started with the Durant trade. Phoenix got 10. Houston technically drafted him, but gave him to Phoenix. And then it was nuts. But the top 9, I believe, were without trades.
Okay.
And you were saying Brooklyn had 5 picks. They took all of them. They took 4 guards. And Danny Wolf from Michigan, I believe.
So what if you're the Spurs and you have 5 picks in a total of 5, or they ended up taking 5 last night?
Brooklyn did.
Brooklyn did, excuse me.
Yes.
Like, there were all these different machinations and things they could have done with those picks last night. Is their thought process, hey, man, if you've got 5 first-round picks, just law of averages say you're going to land on 1 or 2 that end up being a player for you for at least a few years?
Sure.
So, I'd imagine that they tried to trade up, and that didn't happen. And then I imagine that they tried to trade out to following years, and they weren't getting a return that they wanted. So, just because you took the kid, you can still trade him. But, they've probably figured they're stuck with him. It's like the Bruins when they had those 3 first-round picks in a row, and they couldn't do anything but take them.
Yeah.
They wanted to jump up into the top 3, apparently. That was the rumor. And, they had 8 and then a bunch of picks out of the lottery. So.
All right, so what did the Celtics do? We will find out next, and we'll hear what Brad Stevens had to say about all this stuff, so we'll get to all that.
All right, so here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Celtics selected Real Madrid swingman Hugo Gonzalez with the 28th overall selection in the first round of last night's NBA draft. He only played 11 minutes a game in Spain. He's 19 years old and 6 feet 6 inches tall. Second round of the draft is tonight. Celtics have the second selection, pick number 32 overall. Dallas took Cooper Flagg at number 1. Red Sox ended their 9-game West Coast road trip with another loss, 5-2 to the Angels. Sox managed 3 hits for the day. They're back home to play Toronto tomorrow night. Alex Bregman is now not expected back until after the All-Star break. Cutter Crawford needs season-ending wrist surgery. And in soccer news, the New England Revolution lost at home last night to Nashville SC 3-2. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Catches Law. At Catches, they specialize in helping those who have been injured not only from a one-time incident, but from a lifetime of hard work and labor. Does this sound like you? Visit CatchesLaw.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7 o'clock.
Banter or is that Hardy?
Kinda looks like a poodle. It's an effing poodle, dumbass.
The Sports Hub.
With one of their many picks in the first round last night, selecting Danny Wolf, the forward out of Michigan. Now, this kid got a lot of FaceTime on camera, and so did his brother. We have not seen an ugly crier like that since Julianne Moore. I mean, just face contorted. The very, very wet hair thing going on, which does not lend itself to a good look on camera. And then you just factor in the overly emotive, ugly crying from the brother, and it's going on and on and on. And then hey, the commissioner's back up there at the podium. He's trying to make a pick here, and when he did, it sounded like this.
The Boston Celtics select Hugo Gonzalez from Madrid and last played for Real Madrid.
And the crowd goes wild. Hugo. Adam Silver said last night.
Okay.
Are we going with Hugo?
If the commissioner says it, then I guess we should.
Okay.
I thought it was Hugo. Could be Hugo. Could be Ugo. I have no idea.
All right.
As we sit here this morning.
Brad Stevens, what do you got on Hugo Gonzalez?
Yeah, we've been watching Hugo for a long time.
He said Hugo.
See?
He's obviously been on everybody's radar, I think, for a long time, and then, followed his year with a great Real Madrid organization and team and closely, and watched him in all the, U18s and those types of things. And
play the beginning of that because what he's saying is very boring, but as is Brad Stevens' way, so boring that we stopped interviewing him. It was my idea.
Well, so, first of all, they've been watching him for a real time. Yes, do you know when he was first drafted, went into the organization there in Spain? 9. Yeah. Forget about U18. How about U10?
Yeah, because immediately at 9 who's going to be the best. Because if you look back at when your kids were playing sports, it was really the kids at 9. Look at the Little League World Series. The kids that dominate the Little League World Series all share one thing. Wait. They're the kids that are the biggest. They're like the biggest kids. Now, and the kids at 12 that are the biggest aren't the kids at 18 that are the biggest. All right. Very rarely, unless they're like super tall. But play the beginning. I want to hear him going,
Yeah, we've been watching Hugo for a long time. He's obviously been on everybody's radar, I think, for a long time, and then, followed his year with a great Real Madrid organization and team and closely, and watched him in all the, U18s and those types of things, and just a big fan of how he plays.
Okay. You got a timeline here with the Celtics because of Tatum's injury and the players that moved out. So how does he fit in with all that?
I think he's a young guy, but a little bit of an old soul. I think he's played with adults for a long time. He's playing on a team full of experienced former NBA players and, high level pros from all over the world. So like this guy has been around at a high level, been coached really well. So he'll be, I think, when you talk about years overall, yes, he's young, but years of basketball experience, of the things that, we will think are important, it's probably pretty high.
So yesterday when we were talking to O'Connor, he mentioned the kid from Creighton, John, that you were familiar with.
Ryan Kalkbrenner.
Okay. It's funny because yesterday I was listening to pre-draft coverage, and he came up by one of the analysts as a kid that could start for an NBA team.
And he's still available.
Yeah, so keep an eye on that because it would be interesting if they took this kid from Spain, just to be negative. If they took this kid from Spain and then, because I heard the kid's name twice yesterday, the kid from Creighton was still around and the kid from Creighton ended up being a starting center in the NBA.
The Celtics have the second pick tonight, and Kalkbrenner is still there along with that kid from Stanford we were talking about. They're both there. So you'd have to figure if the Celtics want to draft a center, a good one, relatively speaking, should be there at pick 32.
All right. Timberwolves are up first tonight, followed by the Celtics, Hornets with back-to-back picks, and then the Sixers. So,
by the way,
that's how round 2 will get underway.
You were talking about Danny Wolf. Danny Wolf played at Michigan. You know where he started his basketball career, Fred?
No.
Yale.
Man,
played 2 years
one
at
of those
Yale.
Fraudulent. Well, I told you I saw BC play Columbia a couple years ago, and Columbia had 2 7-footers.
Yeah.
So Danny Wolf was good. I mean, I saw Danny Wolf was on a good Michigan team. Danny Wolf was good. Nothing wrong with Danny Wolf. He'll play in the NBA.
There's just something wrong with his brother.
I didn't watch that far into the draft. I had lost interest pretty quickly after the Ace Bailey pick.
Gotcha.
And after I was finished oogling Dylan Harper's mother.
Red Sox tried to salvage just one win against the Angels last night.
Good luck. That's the Angels.
Yeah, they wrap up their set. And Trevor Story giving us all kinds of hope here in the top of the first.
The top of the first inning. 1-2 to line drive, base hit into left field. Duran is in to score. Gonzalez is in to score. Abreu down to third.
Duran home.
2-0 in the top of the first for the Red Sox last night.
2-0. Top of the uno. Top of the uno to you.
Get through that first, get through the second and third, and then things unravel.
Cuatro, no bueno.
Swinging a high fly to right center. That's deep. Rafaela racing back, and that one's out of here. Darno going back to quickly tie the game 2-2.
Back to back like a mud flap.
It traveled 394 feet.
You get it?
Yeah.
The silhouettes.
I got
back in a mud flap.
I got just frustrated with that one because that's a
sometimes they're so clever. I need to know that you got that.
That's not a bad pitch. That's exactly.
Oh, it's a bad pitch. It was a home run. It was a terrible pitch. It was the worst kind of pitch. One that goes for a home run.
Back-to-back pitches for Richard Fitz. Both hit out of the ballpark.
Yeah, they were throwing Fitz in the dugout.
Hey.
Had some fun with the baseball. Just auditioning for a job.
Were there abnormal amount of strikeouts last night, John?
There are always an abnormal amount of strikeouts. The pitcher, Yusei Kikuchi, struck out 12 Red Sox over his 7 innings of work.
What'd you say? Oh, Kikuchi.
Yes.
I'm having too much fun back here. You can tell I'm going to Hoover, Alabama on Saturday. I'm already on vacation time.
Ref Snyder 0 for 3 last night. Any of those hitless at bats, long fly balls that almost made it out? Nope, struck out all 3 times.
Yeah. 14 strikeouts for the Red Sox yesterday.
Alex Cora, is this something to be concerned with? Is this something new?
I don't know. If you follow us, we've been striking out since day one, so we have to make adjustments.
Oh, okay.
Oh, fair enough.
Fair
enough.
He's like Nick at a bachelor party.
Yeah.
Oh. You can't even get the prostitute?
No. Not enough greenbacks.
Terrible.
So that would be a...
He's not good for it, ladies.
That would be a sweep.
Put the envelope on the dresser before the games begin.
Sweep for the Angels. They sweep the Red Sox right out of town, who mercifully get a night off before they are home to take on Toronto and then Cincinnati.
Yeah, the Red Sox are great. They had 3 hits yesterday. They had no hits after the 3rd inning. They had 1 base runner after the 3rd inning, and they always have that one play that you look at and go, they're not paying attention. I think it was the 2nd or 3rd inning. Guy hits a ground ball to shortstop. Story start to double play, 6-4-3, end of the inning. And everyone followed through on the play like it really mattered. Problem was there were 2 outs. So they completed the double play, and then everyone kind of stood there like, oh, is that 2 outs or 3 outs? And then they had to be waved off the field. This is just the lack of attention, and that lineup continues to suck.
Well, the lineup's never going to get better.
I mean, Roman Anthony had a walk as a pinch hitter in the 8th inning. That was the only base runner they got after the 3rd.
Yeah, the offense isn't going to be good this year. It's just not going to be good.
Since the trade of Rafael Devers, this is a stat from our buddy Ian Brown, the Red Sox rank last in Major League Baseball in strikeout percentage, meaning they strike out more than any other baseball team since Devers left.
Yeah. They can dig themselves a nice hole and get in there, and then they'll get Bregman back, and maybe they'll play 500 baseball.
Yeah, Bregman not until after the All-Star break. That was a little piece of news from Alex Correa.
So they will continue to struggle, and I don't see them getting right at any time soon, and then there'll be enough out and enough teams in front of them that 500 baseball will not win the day for you.
Yeah.
They can't hit.
Well, they are, as they've always been. They won 6 in a row entering this road trip, and guess what? They just lost 5 in a row.
Yeah, the dead cat bounce, culminated in after the trade of Devers in a taking 3 out of the next 4.
Mm-hmm.
But after that,
Done.
And San Francisco, they really they put up 5 a couple of times, but 9 runs over those 3 games against the Angels, one of which was an extra inning affair.
4 runs or less in 11 of their last 14.
If they wouldn't have traded Devers, they would have made the playoffs. They cost themselves the playoffs. If they wouldn't have traded Devers, then they could have even made a minor move or 2 at the deadline and made the playoffs. They would have been the 3rd wild card. And after the way they played against the Yankees, I don't have any doubt that they would have been the 3rd wild card. I mean, Jesus, they could have they could have screwed around. They could have screwed around and been the 2nd wild card. But they're not going to make the playoffs. They're not good enough offensively. And so, it's wonderful that they freed up all that money, but anyone who looked at that as a positive, it's just not the way baseball works. There's no move that it would be foolish of them to add at the deadline. I mean, then that would just be foolish. You'd be doing it. You take on rental players and give up prospects to go, try to tread water for the rest of the season. You're not doing that. The best thing you could do is to trade Duran and Bregman. I mean, that's the best thing you could do. Trade Chapman, Duran, and Bregman. Just give it up. And then, sell everyone started next year that the process begins. Because then you're still young.
Because fans haven't waited at all. They just punted the last 4 years.
Okay.
Now we have to wait another 3?
If they're 4 games out of the 3rd wild card at the trade deadline, what if you were a 10,000-foot view, you didn't know anything that happened this season,
Okay.
what would your being? Buy, sell, or stay put?
Sell.
Sell. Right.
Sell.
You would sell.
Of course.
Yeah. So
just 5-second look at this roster.
Yeah.
You sell.
So you sell. And good. And then they get prospects in return.
And then we all have to wait.
And then you can all wait again.
Yeah.
And then by the time those prospects are ready, the prospects that are on the team now will be good enough to be traded.
The best part is Craig Breslow will be asked multiple times up until the trade deadline, what is he going to do? So we want him to do what's best for the ball club. We want to be good now and in the future.
Yeah. And I think Breslow...
All this double talk baseball speak that means nothing.
I think Breslow's a hard-on that doesn't know how to get in, he doesn't know how to deal with people, and then his solution to that was trading Devers, and it's insane.
Congratulations. You've made your team irrelevant yet again.
He has no business being a general manager in baseball. That trade was absolutely inexcusable. And I wouldn't pay $1 to go to a Red Sox game if I was a fan.
I am, and I'm not.
Now, if you're not a fan like me, hopefully tickets get very inexpensive, and I can go to the visiting dugout and watch other people play. All right, we'll be right back.
Stay. games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Celtics kept their first-round draft pick last night, remained at number 28 overall, and selected Spanish swingman Hugo Gonzalez. He is a 6'6" 19-year-old who played only 11 minutes a game for Real Madrid last season. But Brad Stevens said afterwards he sees a lot more than that.
He's been around it at a high level, been coached really well. So he'll be, I think when you talk about years overall, yes, he's young, but years of basketball experience, of the things that, we will think are important, it's probably pretty high.
Gonzalez is reportedly expected to play here next season and not stay in Europe. Celtics still have another pick to make. They have the second selection in the second round tonight. As expected, Dallas took Cooper Flagg, number 1 overall in the NBA draft. Red Sox lost to the Angels yesterday 5-2 to wrap up their road trip with 6 losses in 9 games. They had 3 hits for the day. Trevor Story's 2-run single in the top of the first inning was pretty much the offense. They've lost 5 straight now. They pitch Brian Bayo against Toronto tomorrow night at Fenway Park. And the New England Revolution were beaten by Nashville SC last night 3-2 in Foxborough. They host the Colorado Rapids on Saturday night. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the Colossal Lobster Rolls at the 99. 100% North Atlantic lobster piled high on grilled brioche. Served hot, buttered, or with just the right amount of mayo and celery. You gotta love the 9s. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
When breaking sports news happens in Boston.
News this morning, Marcos.
Look, I mean, it revitalized his career. But it's funny because he started and everyone thought he was a loser for doing it because people are like, what are you doing? You're in your garage, like talking to your friends that are comics. And so he does it and then ends up becoming big enough where like Obama comes into his garage and all this stuff. And then it's not like everyone else just started podcasting. Every comedian completely took his idea and stole it. Because it's one thing, like you're talking to a microphone, it's an audio form of entertainment. That's, fair game. But the idea that no comedian came up with an idea with anything other than an interview show where you sit down and interview people in a loose environment, that's sad. All these creative people and all they could do was follow Mark Maron's blueprint. And you're talking about thousands. And there's little tweaks to them, but they're basically just all interview shows.
Yeah, because anything more than that requires work. And I guess the appeal of podcasting is that you can just sit down and talk. Oh, you can do that. We can just sit down and talk. What else do you have to do? Do we have to edit? Do we have to write ahead of time? No. You can just sit down and talk. And then just press stop, and then you upload the thing, and you're done. Which is why most of them, the huge majority of them, 99+%, are unlistenable because there's no work or thought put into them. We're just going to sit down and talk.
Well, Maron quit, and then we talked to Chris DiStefano, who's a big funny comic, and he was like, "I'm out of it too." He's like, I might keep this one history thing because I do it with like a friend of mine and like whatever. We're just doing it for fun. You want to do it for fun, that's fine. But I mean, they all ended up screwing each other because everyone just did the same thing. And then you just, by that point, it's just a massive bleh. All right. So there you go. All right, Adam, now it's time for us to turn it on and do only what professional broadcasters can do. Those who proved ourselves coming up through the game and being rated on a consistent basis, and that's things like this.
That's right. That's things like looking at the best 50 songs of 2025 so far,
courtesy
of the editorial staff at Billboard.
Okay.
I was like, hey, man.
Billboard, which is important now as it was 25 years ago, despite the fact that no albums are ever sold.
Yes.
Billboard hanging around.
And hey, you got to give it to them. They're sticking with that whole end of June, beginning of July is when you do your best of so far because everyone's going on vacation and no one wants to write anything new. So
yeah, and
I've done it myself, so kudos to them.
And in fairness to Billboard, I was listening to the Geddy Lee book, which I can't strongly recommend enough. I mean, this guy has got stories that are boring. It's as boring as you think it'd be. He loves science fiction books.
Didn't he write a book about bass guitars?
Well, yeah, but that's just like a picture book. But
okay.
but this is his autobiography, and it's funny. He's like, and then like lasers and midgets came out, and it went to number 7 on the Billboard charts. And you're like, what? What albums are these?
Despite what you may have read, Presto was an enormous commercial success.
He's like, but the controversy over the rap and Roll the Bones was very. But it's like, okay, Moving Pictures, I imagine, was a huge hit. I mean, that's got classic songs on it. But pretty much everything after that, you're like, what? These albums these charted? And he's like, and then I did my side project with Billy Bob's Scooby Bops, and that debuted at number 52 on the Billboard. And I'm like, I don't know who any of these people are. Stop talking. All right, very good. He seems like a nice enough guy, though. All right, so here we go.
So, yes.
These are the biggest songs, and, of course, I am, as are these guys, locked in on what's new and current.
Yeah,
of course.
This is pretty much all I listen to is new music, the newest of new music.
Because everyone listens to music after they got out of college.
I purposely didn't look at any of this. I really want to try.
I studied it, and we'll see how I do. I treated this like the SATs.
We're going to focus on the top part of the list. We'll start with number 7. Party, you can work the
okay, now 12. Is this
song's called Twilight Zone, not to be confused with.
That's Golden Earring, baby.
It's not that Twilight Zone.
Golden Earring. This used to be on MTV all the time, and it used to bug me.
There was the edited version. Wasn't the original song like 8 minutes long?
I don't know.
Yeah,
they covered Radar Love.
You're absolutely right, John. It is. The album version's super long, and the video's still pretty long. That's a 5-minute long
when the bullet hits the bone.
When the bullet hits the bone.
Yeah, they're like from Finland or something. You can tell because they say things wrong.
Yes.
12. Are these once again Billboard charting songs or top critical choices?
These are top critical choices.
Oh, I have no chance
so far.
All right, go ahead.
Well, you didn't have a real big chance the other way.
I recognize Ariana Grande's voice.
You might get this one too,
Live.
Fred. You might get this one too.
I think I might like her. I think she might be a nice.
She's very talented on Saturday Night Live. That I'll tell you.
I like when she's on SNL. She gets it.
Yeah.
Well, no, but she can do those impressions of people too.
Oh, that's right.
She's like a very good impressionist.
All right.
I don't find her that attractive.
Well, she looks like a little kid.
Yeah, I question that when people who find her that attractive.
Right.
I'm thinking, what are you really looking at?
Was she on Sam and Cat?
Yeah, she was on one. No, she was on in the one that was at the high school with for the performing arts. My daughter watched it. Yeah, my daughter watched that show from 1982, based on the movie. No, it was called I forget it, but she was on the one about the high school. It starred another girl who didn't do anything. All right, go ahead.
Ariana Grande was Cat on Sam and Cat.
Yeah, but the one before that. She was that was a spinoff of another show.
Well, I'm not OG-AG. I'm more S&C-AG.
Okay. I didn't know she was in Sam and Cat, but that was a spinoff of another show. Go ahead.
The number 16 song is one you might get, Fred. It might be in the world of...
the rapping is not of any concern to them. That's a big thing coming out of rap
So
now.
what they care about is the trap-style beat that everyone sounds the same. That's what they care about, having one of those?
Yeah, just that it has that certain kind of sound, yeah.
If you're a DJ right now, you're all set, because that stuff's super easy to mix, right? Like, think about that, I guess. I guess if you're doing big DJ sets and you're playing a lot of that stuff, it's super easy to mix because it is all the same beat, primarily. Same tempo, too.
I can't get in the headspace of that.
No.
I mean, it's too above me.
How about this popular artist at number 15?
All right.
Sabrina Carpenter.
You can keep guessing her. She'll come up eventually,
Okay,
but this
good.
isn't her.
Sabrina Carpenter.
Like a Jeopardy category.
What is?
Yeah.
It's another pop artist, but not as mainstream as a Sabrina Carpenter.
Charlie the X15.
It's a good guess, too. It's actually Lorde who has a new album.
Ah.
What was that? Lord Virgin comes out on Friday.
What was her controversy? That she was something with Israel and she didn't want to play there because someone else said you shouldn't play there or something like that. This is years ago.
Well, the controversy, she's really Randy Marsh, if you've ever seen that episode of South Park where he's
that's
Lord.
a good call. Yes, that's right.
All right.
All right. This one is one of Fred's all-time favorite artists. Bon
Iver?
Yes.
Bon Iver, of course.
What the hell
Has a new album out as well.
All
Living in
right,
His Peaceful
great.
Love. All right. This album just came
Why
out.
is he still alive?
He's not old.
No, it should
Is he
have
elderly?
OD'd by now. Jeez. I mean, these kids don't OD anymore.
I like that he's losing his hair in a terrible way and does nothing to hide it at all.
You could put 17 people. I'd probably be able to pick them up based on who's the biggest pussy. But I would. I really have no idea what the guy looks like.
Yeah.
All right.
You don't want to. It's bad.
No, I have no.
This album just came out on Friday.
I was going to guess Wilson Phillips.
No, they're good. I was actually listening to that album when it came out Friday. It's got some good jams on it.
All right, there, skateboard kid.
Okay, you want skateboard kids? Here you go, number 10.
Oh yeah. Okay. It's Turnstile.
Turnstile. Never enough.
I can't stand their singer. I can't stand him.
They really. I mean,
The
we'll see
earnestness
if it pays off, right?
The earnestness is really grating.
Don't talk smack about them to Be Real. He's a big Turnstile fan. And
He also likes 311.
That's right.
His favorite band is 311.
Turnstile is an American hardcore punk band
Not
from
anymore.
Baltimore.
Well, they've evolved out of that, which is their business. Which is, Turnstile. And who am I to say what's hardcore or not? But I just don't like the singer.
Be Real texted me 4 days ago to wish me happy double 311 day.
Yeah, he did the same for me.
On 6/22.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, he leans into the bit. You gotta. Let's get into the top. Well, close to the top 5. This was speaking of that.
We saw Chapel Roan.
Yeah, what do you know about her? I saw her live. I was in the same room as her.
Yeah.
Okay.
They didn't give her a lot for the stage show.
No.
Olivia Rodrigo kept that to herself.
That's right. Number 5.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Here's number 5.
Boy, oh no, you sent me all those emails. Now
This
my
sounds like
head's spinning.
Steely Dan.
This is Sabrina Carpenter.
That's correct. This is Man-Child, which they've been speculated has been written about one of her former paramours, perhaps Matt Healy of the 1975. Someone here at
She's
the radio
another one
station,
with that if you like Sabrina Carpenter's looks, I'm like, what
well, there's someone who does because there's two
12 years old.
There's 2 photographs of her pinned to the corkboard in here. One of the producers of one of the shows is.
We are at a very,
Sabrina Carpenter
very, very tipping point of breasts right now, where there has to be some movement on this breast thing because everyone you're playing has very small breasts.
I don't mind it. Hey, 12. With the beginning of that, I don't want to throw off the bit here.
Yeah.
Doesn't that sound like the beginning of Doobie Brothers?
It does.
What a Fool
Yeah, What a Fool
Believes?
Believes. It does,
Can you play
yeah.
just the beginning of that again?
No, because I closed the tab. But I can play you the number
righty.
4 career, and I believe
This
the,
seems
music
like
is suffering
gay
because of
people love me. Like I'm like that tonality in her voice. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly.
Is this
It's campy.
It's
campy.
It's that rise from an alley chalk in this way.
Yes.
Yeah, Lady Gaga knows where the bread will be buttered as she ages, and that will be by the gay community.
One more song, and it is the number 1 song in Fred. You will get this.
If this were...
It is, John.
This is Kendrick Lamar, right?
It is Kendrick Lamar and SZA.
I saw them perform.
That's right.
I've known of Kendrick Lamar for we've been playing Kendrick Lamar on this show for 15 years, so I don't know what to tell you.
Is this Luther?
Yes, it is Luther.
You are all late to the party. Is what I've been playing.
I never got invited.
I've been playing Kendrick Lamar for 15 years before all you knew about him.
Yeah.
That was on Funk Fridays for a long time.
We still have that. We might use that later on today. Tomorrow, Got that in the rotation. Here's that Sabrina Carpenter for you again, Hardy. Take us out.
She's there seems to be some tipping point, and I think Hardy's used his newfound notoriety to get these breasts smaller.
Exactly. Trendsetter.
Yeah, he's been burning down plastic surgery offices.
There's a handful of your top songs of 2025 so far, courtesy of the Billboard editorial staff.
Good luck getting that on a podcast.
Thank you.
Right?
You know, that's the way we interacted with the audience and everything there. That was something else. All right, Don Sweeney. The NBA draft happened kind of without note, except for the Ace Bailey thing. We'll get into that with Chris Forsberg next hour. But the NHL draft, which is more important to the Bruins than this draft was for the Celtics, considering they didn't do anything interesting. We will be back. Don Sweeney talked yesterday. We'll talk about what he had to say.
to congratulate Brad. Beyond that.
So he talked yesterday, Hardy.
Yes, Don Sweeney spoke, and among the subjects brought up to him, some of the players that are around right now, but maybe not necessarily going to be, and players and fans alike would like them to be. How about Morgan Geekie? Don, what do you got on Morgan Geekie?
I mean, there's been constant communication. You know, are we on the doorstep? I don't think so, but that can change within one phone call. You know, again, you get in around this time frame, and sometimes you're tracking on a deal and you get it done right away, and other times it gets sort of pushed to the back burner as to what everybody else is maybe focused on. Doesn't mean that my attention isn't on Morgan and being able to close out a deal. We have time in that regard, so I'm not concerned about it. I mean, arbitration is impossible for both sides. Like, at the end of the day, we're going to find a deal, as I said before, whether it's one or much, much longer. You know, we have zero issues in the fact that we're going to find a deal at some point in time.
Okay. And on Morgan Geekie, you should be able to, but my gut tells me that waiting for the Bruins to figure things out and get players to come around hasn't worked out for them consistently.
There's just no real options for Geekie. I mean, he's here no matter what.
He's a restricted free agent, which is good news for the Bruins because he scored 33 goals last season.
Yeah.
Right. He's an unrestricted free agent. No way he's coming back here.
Right. And he might be overvalued, so they can at least – he's back. I mean, and I do think Sweeney has a point is that can be handled, you know, maybe after the draft. Right now we're focused on the draft, which I would like his focus is on because that was the excuse why they whiffed on the 3 picks in the first round in 2015. That was 2015, right? I think, whatever. It is because they said that he didn't get any time, that he was announced as the general manager too close to the draft, and he wasn't given the time needed. So now he has plenty of time.
He's got all the time in the world.
He's got all the time in the world.
So what is the approach to this year's draft?
Well, I mean, we're picking at a much more elevated position, so we're acutely aware of those players that are there versus moving back, moving up, what the acquisition costs versus the move back and who those players might be if you do that, the player you might be passing up on. So it's just different. We haven't done it for a number of years. Envious of teams that have had the opportunity, and now we're in a good situation to try and do that. So I think you have to treat it a little differently.
Okay.
Huh?
He's treating this draft differently because they're picking higher than they've picked in many previous years.
Fred, they could move up, they could move back.
Well, what I would like is that regardless of your position,
you get stuff when you move back.
Right. You miss out on things.
My hope for the team would be that in the front office is that in every draft they'd know everybody. I would, it's a tangible. I mean, it's like a realistic thing to know everyone. There is a finite amount of people that can be in the draft. I would hope that you would know everyone. Considering there's people walking around the street that know kids, unrestricted free agents in the NFL, I would hope that you would know who these kids are all the way through the draft.
I would hope,
regardless of your draft positioning.
And I guess I would just wish for maybe some commentary, like something definitive. Like, what is your approach to the draft this year? Centers are building from the back line out, from the blue line out, something.
You can't really do that because because of the way drafts move. Like, say you want a center, and then, which is very possible, 6 centers get taken in front of you, and the best right wing in the draft's available, and you take the right wing, and then everyone's going to say, well, you said you were going to take a center. You got to be flexible this high to draft.
Honestly, and I don't know if you were going to play this, Hardy, but Sweeney had a point where he said last night, look, centers move to wing when they're this young. Wings move to center. It just because a guy is pegged as one position now doesn't mean he'll be that when he plays with us.
What?
I don't like that these kids are this young. It really concerns me that you're drafting a kid that's 17 years old. That is not good for me because 17-year-olds are not the same as 22-year-olds. There's a lot of growing that happens between 17 and 22. And that you're getting these kids this maturity level. I mean, the guy from Florida, the guy who hit Marchand, Bennett, who's known as like a big tough guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He couldn't do one pull-up at the combine when he was drafted. I mean, and this is like a guy who's considered like a mauler.
The other part of the problem is, Fred, even top overall picks. Remember Connor Bedard? Chicago kind of disappeared since he was taken number 1 overall. But my point is, this kid, whoever it is, it's going to be taken 7th. Pressure is going to be on him immediately to produce, and that's not fair. That's not fair at all to this kid, whoever it is.
Oh, don't worry. People forget about him.
That's fine.
As he sits around, and people believe me. You get another year of juniors, you get some time at Providence, you'll be all right. Everyone will forget about him.
How do you feel about the Bruins?
Fabian Lysell.
How do you feel about the Bruins core right now? Like and we did this sections,
but we're going to continue to see what the marketplace might bear, and whether that's players or move back, move up scenarios. So I think we're well positioned to be able to explore those. There's years past we haven't been. I think we've got a core group of guys that when healthy, are going to put us right back in a competitive mindset. And now we have to do a good job to surround that or grow it.
Well, you got to surround it with literally 5 forwards. You need 5 forwards to play the game of hockey.
If you're talking about a real core, I would prefer to you be able to mention at least 3 forwards on which there is no debate.
Well, right now you have 3 lines of players. Forwards. You need to, like, right now, if you played a game, they'd be getting an awful lot of ice time because you'd only be able to move 2 lines in and out. Like, you need physical bodies. Now, they extended Lowry. Now, take it easy. They extended Lowry, despite his worst plus-minus in the league. But we know why they extended Lowry is because he's so gifted offensively. How they haven't done this is almost just they're insisting on not doing it because I came up with it. It's the guy Fred likes that says, and they'll all go, Lowry.
Yeah.
And everyone, it will be so much fun, but they just won't do it because it's me. Because they know they know one word from me that franchise crumbles.
You got anything on Lowry?
Well, if you look at the body of work and realizing that he played in an elevated role in the playoffs 2 years ago, and handled that situation pretty well. Was not a liability in any way. The way that as you referenced, the exposure side of it without having other players around it, like that can take its toll. Players that are playing against top matchups and every given night, and playing uphill in a lot of cases that we were in the second part of the season. That takes its toll on all players, and particularly younger players, and probably in the back end. So he knows there's work to be done.
Yeah, Fluto did a good article on him and about how many of those goals were empty netters and all this stuff. Like, we all saw Lowry. Lowry, I believe he can develop into it. At one point, we as fans, it was now, unfortunately, they didn't win as many cups as they should have. They should have won 2 or 3 cups, and they didn't. But they did have to give the Bruins credit, which I don't hear a lot of people doing. They had an incredible extended amount of success, and they did it with a very, very good core. Now, Sweeney was not responsible for that core, but there has to be a time. Now, you don't want the team to be horrible because, like we just said, they have good pieces, but there has to be a time where they have to get players into their system. That you can't just survive. I mean, it's been like 20 years.
Yeah.
Legit like 20 years. You got to start feeding this thing again.
Yeah,
Bergeron and Marchand and all these guys that came up through the system. You got to do that again. You got to start feeding yourself.
Give Sweeney a little credit in that the deals he made at the deadline were an effort to do that. He got picks. He got this center, Fraser Mitten. Who knows if that kid's going to be any good? We saw a little
right,
bit of
and so we did give him credit.
To do that.
No, we did give him credit for selling at the deadline. I give him a lot of credit for selling at the deadline, and it couldn't have worked out better for him. It worked out for Marchand, and you got the first-round pick now for him. Mm-hmm. That's all great. But I would really encourage them to use some of these picks on picking on young players.
You're going to get a young forward at 7. I mean, that's
unless you trade the pick for some mediocre jabroni.
That's also on the table as well. The temptation is there. I'm sure a lot of teams would give up an established veteran forward for the 7th overall.
It's just with the draft coming up, I get these things on Instagram, and I know I'm as dumb as anyone else who's always on Instagram. But it's where all these guys were taken, these Hall of Famers, and they're all taken like 79th, 111th. Like you got to take guys. It doesn't have to be the first pick in the draft. I mean, in the NHL, there's a ton of depth. These are little kids. They're little kids. They're minors. A lot of them, literally. Take some overlooked kid you get at 150 when he turns 22 years old, might be a brick S house. I mean, there's a lot of development between 17 and this whole hockey operation really concerns me. It really does. Like, my franchise and all of it is based on someone that's just getting out of high school.
Drafting a player whose bones are still lengthening.
Or people that are still growing. Like Jason Tatum grew while he was on the Celtics.
I know.
I mean, you could put on Dennis Rodman. I mean, he went to some JUCO and put on 6 inches his freshman year. I don't know. It's weird, but please take some players. A little patience, a little bit of patience. You have plenty of money to sign free agents. A little bit of patience would be nice. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Celtics stayed at number 28 overall last night. First round of the NBA draft. They selected 6'6" Spanish swingman Hugo Gonzalez. He's just 19 years old. He is reportedly expected to come stateside and play here this winter. Celtics have the second overall selection in the second round of the draft tonight. Up at the top of the first round, as expected, Dallas took Cooper Flagg. Red Sox got swept by the Angels yesterday, 5-2 in Anaheim. Sox got a 2-run single from Trevor Story early, but just 2 hits after that. 3 for the game total. They've lost 5 in a row. They go 3-6 on their road trip. They're off tonight. They'll host Toronto tomorrow evening. And Nashville SC forward Sam Surridge had a hat trick last night to lead his team to a 3-2 win over the New England Revolution in Foxborough. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the New England Revolution. The June homestand continues Saturday, June 28th, when the New England Revolution take on the Colorado Rapids at Gillette Stadium. Kickoff is set for 7:30 p.m. Get your tickets today at revolutionsoccer.net/tickets. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8 o'clock.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
fast. Run them jewels fast. Run them the slow mo.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy, and John off air had a nugget about the Bruins, which I hit out of the park. I had one of the players wrong. But go ahead, Johnny.
Last 5 years of Bruins drafts, how many regulars have come out of that?
Was the question. Hardy said 11. He was way off.
I said 3.
And I said 2. And I said Low Ryan Beecher, but Beecher, it turns out, was 6 years ago, but the answer is 2, John.
Mason Lowry and Matthew Poitras. And Poitras really isn't a regular. He was sent back.
He was sent down.
Sent down. But the only players that
Fred's all like, I know Beecher was within the last 5 years. I'm sure of it. I'm certain of it. That one I know.
I toppled the table. I was fit to be tied.
So
we get in real sports heated arguments off air. You
the
should see
sports debates are electric.
I mean, we really get into it because I can bring up something that John got wrong, which I will. But go ahead, John.
No, you had Lysell has played a dozen games. He's been more down than up. Riley Duran, 2 games. Frederick Bernay, 1 game. And that's it. That's it. It's basically Poitras and Lowry. And really, it's Lowry out of the last 5 years of drafts.
Yeah, they got to just take some kids. For anything else, just that's how you have to operate in professional sports. You have to do that. And you also said that, not surprisingly, Sweeney said it was a mistake to take their pick last year and have him at BC.
Yes.
Because he wasn't ready for that
Dean
level of competition.
3 goals, 3 assists, 6 points in, I think, 36 games for Boston College.
Yeah, he was not ready for that. That doesn't mean he won't turn out into something, obviously. He's a big kid, but
he's only 19.
Yeah, you got to give that
but
kid a little
that goes
bit of time.
along the lines of what you're talking about. Whomever they draft tomorrow night at number 7, if they stay there, whoever they take is going to be a 17, 18-year-old kid that isn't ready, and you're not going to see for a while.
That's why you have to have a little bit of patience. But again, since these kids are so young, these later picks, they should hit on a couple of them, at least to get depth pieces, because, again, there's got to be kids that are going to grow and fill out, and even their skill level can get better. I mean, I know that there's certain kids that right away, well, this is like an incredible special talent. But then there's a whole lot of other guys that got to play hockey. So let's go there. But if you would you like to hear me correct, John?
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Remember in the beginning of the show, we were.
What are the odds that it will upset him in any way, and even that kind of sideways glance that he gives when he's upset, but he doesn't want to let on?
Hard to say. Most situations probably would, but now that I know that he's going to his in-laws' house for 4th of July week, I think that's all off the table.
All water off a bird's back at this point.
Yeah, literally.
Okay.
And so, because we know now that John is going to his in-laws' house in Philadelphia and then off to the Jersey Shore, which in past experiences gets our boy Johnny Wallach a little head in the clouds come that last day.
We will be on Wallach window watch all day tomorrow to see if he stands at the window and just peers outside and starts dreaming of that trip to Philadelphia and then the trip to the Jersey Shore, which makes him so happy.
Because if you don't know, it was several Christmas...
Not joking, by the way. This sounds like a nightmare for everybody, but John loves it.
Well, the best story of how this all came about, and it's part of the reason I love John, is that one Christmas, John had his hands in his pockets and he was swaying by the window. And you know me, I'm locked in my phone. I'm not really doing much. We'll have conversations about our kids or something. But I'm not paying attention to what you guys are wearing or anything. But John was really at the window, really bopping back and forth. So I finally said, Jesus Christ, you're ready. What's going on? You're all excited. He goes, yeah, I'm ready for vacation. I go, oh yeah, what are you doing? He's like, yeah. After the show today, driving down to Philadelphia, my in-laws' house.
Getting in that minivan.
I'm like, wait, you're excited about that? He's like, yeah, just, being off the air, getting... Well, you must really hate this job.
I'd have my knees drawn up to my chest, rocking back and forth in a corner, if that's what I had awaiting me at the end of the show.
Well, my ex-wife would... obviously rightfully get annoyed with me because if it was raining the day we were leaving for Thanksgiving at her dad's house, I would be on the I would be on the web. I'm so old. I would be on my computer just refreshing the flights, hoping they would get canceled. So I remember like there were a couple Thanksgivings where the weather was terrible, and I'm like, well, if it gets canceled, Stephanie, we can't go because we're not flying out on Thanksgiving. I mean, that would be foolish. So let's just I don't know if you remember this, John, but I would just be refreshing, hoping that it would say that the flight was canceled.
I do remember this.
I hated it.
Flying to Philadelphia sucks to begin with, and any drop of rain delays flights an hour and a half.
Also, does hiding for 3 days is not the greatest thing.
Yeah, with the Adros, right?
Yeah, just making yourself as small as possible, and then being told not to go through the old Sports Illustrated. They're worth money. Mm-hmm. This is from Nick Joyce. You recall at the beginning of the show we were talking about college football and basketball. We don't prepare for the first break. And I was talking about a guy named Dudley at Boston College, and John was like, no. And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. And then who'd you say who I was talking about?
Jesus, why can't I think of his name?
It doesn't really matter.
Billy Curley is who I
said.
thought.
Billy Curley. Yes. And so I said, sure. Because I'm not one to argue.
Mm-hmm.
I said, maybe John's right, but, foolish me. Freddie T, you were on the right track with the Dudley basketball player. It was Jared Dudley.
You said center, though.
Jared Dudley, what was he, a forward?
Dudley was a swing man. If you look him up, he was like a guard slash forward.
You said center.
Well, all right. Jared Dudley played for a bunch of NBA teams. That old bird sitting across from you has no idea what he's talking about. No one born after 1930 has any clue who Billy Curley is. Get out of here with that.
Billy Curley was a valuable member of Boston College in the early 90s. He was a center on that team. That's who I thought you meant. Jared Dudley, a very good player for Boston College, but later on.
But not a center.
Not a center.
All right. Here we go. Boston College basketball players in pros.
Okay.
All right. Because I'll just find out who I'm talking about.
Look at you typing like Chachi over there.
Yeah.
Index
I want to
fingers.
hold your keys.
Can you not type properly?
What? I'm a pecker. I've been working like a dog.
I've never seen him type before. That was unsettling.
It's unsettling. I'm used to typing with my thumbs and rubbing with my palms.
Peeping.
All right, let me see here. It wasn't Michael. Bill Curley's white, of course, you brought him up. That must have been a big hero of yours. It was Jim Cassane. I was talking about.
Of course. Nate Dornekamp, was that him?
No.
Oh, okay.
I can't even find who the hell I'm talking about. What do I know?
Chris Dudley was a center who played in the Ivy League, but never went to Boston College.
Nah, I don't know who I'm thinking about. All right, forget it. You're stupid. I'm stupid. Everyone's dumb.
Okay.
You were thinking of Mike Poplawski. You had the wrong school.
I just thought of Scotty Skiles, and I just knew how popular he'd be here between the cocaine and the being white and being scrappy. Because when he had long hair enough. Hang on. This is kind of funny. He had long enough hair that when he got sweaty, it got like kind of clumpy, and that's what the people around here really liked. White, clumpy sweats. I like a good white head that gets clumpy and the hair sticks together when they sweat.
In need of a haircut and not good air conditioning at home.
Yeah.
That's the look I'm going for.
That's right. Okay. I don't know who I was talking about, to be honest with you. He's kind of a goofy-looking guy. I can't think of it. Maybe he didn't go to BC.
Which would ruin the exercise
well, it
entirely.
would make it very difficult to come up with the right answer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. We'll be back. Bird, and this is all Nicholas. Young Nicholas found out a special event going on at movie theaters. If you're a fan of movies, this is kind of a fun thing. And he took Bird out. Bird, it took him 2 times to get the right day. But Bird went out there Sunday, but the movie was not on Sunday. And then he sent a big, long text explaining why he was there on Sunday. And
which did not help his cause.
And also, no one responded. I just liked it so he would stop texting. But there you go. We will have that free in just a moment.
sports, the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Essential Sports Hub headline, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Celtics took Real Madrid swingman Hugo Gonzalez with the 28th overall selection in the first round of last night's NBA draft. Gonzalez only played 11 minutes a game in Spain. He's 19 years old and 6 feet 6 inches tall. Brad Stevens is more than happy with this pick.
Yeah, we've been watching Hugo for a long time. He's obviously been on everybody's radar, I think, for a long time. And then, followed his year with a great Real Madrid organization and team and closely, and watched him in all the, U18s and those types of things. And just a big fan of how he plays.
According to ESPN, Gonzalez is expected to leave Europe and play here next season. The second round of the draft is tonight. The Celtics have the second selection in round number 2. Dallas took Cooper Flagg, number 1 overall. Red Sox ended their 9-game West Coast road trip with their 5th straight loss, 5-2 to the Angels. Sox managed 1 hit and 2 base runners total after the first inning. They had 3 hits for the day. Yusei Kikuchi allowed 2 unearned runs and struck out 12 for the winners over 7 innings of work.
I like him because of the coochie.
Sox are back home to play Toronto tomorrow night. And in soccer news, Nashville SC is now unbeaten in their last 10 matches. They beat the New England Revolution in Foxborough last night 3-2. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the Albrecht Auto Group, Zoe's Auto Dealer. Purchase any new vehicle for one of their 8 dealerships and get the Albrecht Advantage, a 10-year, 150,000-mile limited powertrain warranty backed by Allstate Insurance. Connect with Albrecht at albrechtauto.com. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
Start your day.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Work through your day.
What's that thing we do at the end of the show?
And end your day.
I'm not giving you an opinion. I don't know.
Right here, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
And now, back to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
First off, what's your name?
Bird.
Can we use this for the radio?
We're in a different state. Do I have to say that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so where are we right now?
We're in Salem, New Hampshire. It is a mystery movie Monday here at, is it Regal? Who cares?
When that happens, they screen an upcoming movie that's coming out in a few weeks. Nobody knows what it is. And the rumors on the internet were saying it was going to be this movie, Jurassic Park Rebirth, which is coming out next week.
All right, so this is a good idea. So it's a movie theater that has a mystery movie on Mondays, and it's a movie that is yet to be released. It's a preview of a movie that was going to be released. Is it a like kind of a carnival-like atmosphere?
This movie theater, it was pretty quiet. Not
was it
really
empty?
No, it was jam-packed. But
all right, so this is a good idea.
Yeah.
All right, so I had not seen Jurassic Park until about 2 years ago. And I think you're all idiots for being so impressed by it. It was stupid.
At the time, it was not stupid.
Well, I mean, maybe some of us were a little more advanced at the time.
Well, you wouldn't know because you didn't see it at the time.
Yeah,
no,
it came
but
out
I was
in 1993.
I mean, I had stopped playing with dinosaurs at the age of 4. But, I mean, in the whole thing, did it make sense? I mean, the guy, it's not like Star Wars or something. And all right, so this is a new one. Now, are people going to see this movie? They've made a lot of Jurassic Parks by this point.
Yeah, I think this movie is going to do really well.
Because Mission Impossible lost a tremendous amount of money.
Not do well.
Yeah,
No.
so you got to be careful. I'm hoping that they swing around to making some R-rated comedies again, because the more of these movies that fail, I bet you that last superhero movie failed too. That one you had to see, Hardy.
Oh,
Thunderbolts.
the Thunderbolts. Yeah.
I bet you that didn't do good.
I tried to get my son when we were hanging out last week to go see Friendship with me.
Yeah.
And he watched the trailer and he's like, yeah, I don't think so. And I said, I don't blame you based on the trailer. Yeah. And if you're not a Tim Robbins fan, then probably wouldn't get to it.
My daughter liked it. We saw How to Train Your Dragon, and I was like, oh, this is going to suck.
It was good?
It was good. How to Train Your Dragon was an actual good movie.
Yeah, you probably did like it because you're still into dragons, you dummy. Like the rest of us.
That's totally different.
Thunderbolts grossed $380 million to
how much?
$380
what
million
movie?
to $180 million. Thunderbolts. I would consider that. I mean, it's a $200 million profit. Is that even a success, or is?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't tell you. With the marketing and everything, Adam, I can't tell you.
Before,
I'm at a loss.
Before we get to this, can we just quickly address Bird's text to all of us?
Sure.
Okay. Bird showed up at the movie theater on Sunday night for this Monday night movie.
Yes.
Which we all thought was funny. He got the day wrong.
Yes.
Texted Nick and said, "Where are you?"
He drove up to Salem, New Hampshire on the Sunday night?
Yeah.
So,
oh, man.
So we talked about it on the air. Bird felt the need to defend himself. So he texted all of us. Hi, guys. As you can read on the text, Nick said tomorrow, texted me Saturday afternoon, and then included screenshots of the text from Nick saying, "Hey, are you free tomorrow at 7 p.m.? Why? There's a secret screening of Jurassic World in Salem, New Hampshire." And this was on Oh, wait a second. You did say this.
I did make a mistake, yes.
You made a mistake.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
So you texted him the wrong day.
Yes. I had my days mixed up. It happens a lot.
Drove up to Salem, New Hampshire from Boston for no movie.
No movie.
Oh, boy.
That was on me. I felt really
Not a
bad.
short trip.
No. I felt really
Well
really
done,
bad.
Nick.
Did he get mad at you? Or did
No,
he not care?
he was fine.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So here's the deal. Bird and Nick went out to the movie, and here they are.
What are your thoughts about the movie theater?
Reclining seats. Your father.
I like the dramatic music. You put that in?
No, it's the actual theater.
So these are two having a, like a full-blown conversation. While the previews have already started, it sounds like. But this is new. This is a review of the theater before we get the review of the film.
Okay.
What are your thoughts about the movie theater?
Reclining seats. Your father will love it. And
How would he know? He doesn't know what I want. I want a son that pays attention to me.
Why doesn't he pay attention?
Because we're estranged.
You love this.
Nicholas, you won't talk to me. I'm right there in the north end.
We had a falling out.
Life is too short.
the heated, which I'd never seen before at a movie theater, which is...
Oh, come on. Get out. And they're barely heated. It just makes the light go red.
And also, that's exactly what you want, this week, are heated seats.
Yeah.
That's what everybody was craving when they escaped to the movies this past week in Boston, was a heated seat.
Well, I gotta mention something. They had AC in the seats as well.
Well,
it was a very nice theater.
He didn't mention that. He just said the seats were heated.
But I think that's more of a con game with the light just turning red or blue. I don't think it really does anything.
The heated, which I'd never seen before at a movie theater, which is cool. It's got a tray table, which is a nice upgrade because I have my popcorn. You have your Twizzlers. We have our drinks, and we're happy and satisfied. We can put our sunglasses and glasses on this little tray table, and we'll be happy. Everything's out of the way.
Yeah, don't leave them on there or you'll lose them forever.
Don't wear your sunglasses in the theater. Now you have a tray to put them on. Where else would you put them? A lot of people just throw them away.
Sometimes I panic and stomp on them to make them smaller, so they don't block anyone's vision.
Bert already impressed that there's a place to put his sunglasses while he watches the film.
Yeah,
okay.
But did you make sure you didn't lose them? Because, I mean, that's an easy thing to forget. All right, Nick, we'll get to that later.
All right, so then now we go to after the movie, and it's been revealed. Now they finally know what they've seen because it was a mystery beforehand, so here we go.
Okay, what was the mystery movie?
Bird's mystery movie on Monday was Jurassic Park Rebirth.
Rebirth, all right. And what are your thoughts?
I thought it was a great movie. It's not as close to the original Jurassic Park, but it's like right there. It was really good action.
What, did you bring a canteen?
I think that was mine.
You brought a canteen?
Yeah, I was staying hydrated.
Can I interject briefly? Nick in the introduction and Bird right now both got the name of the movie wrong. It's called Jurassic World Rebirth, and both of them have now watched the movie and are reviewing the movie and don't know the name of the movie. Just wanted to throw that out there.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay, what was the mystery movie?
Bird's mystery movie on Monday was Jurassic Park Rebirth.
It's Jurassic World Rebirth.
Yes.
Okay.
World.
That's it. How dare he? It's well off.
Rebirth. All right. And what are your thoughts?
I thought it was a great movie. It's not as close as the original Jurassic Park, but it's like right there. It was really good action. Great action. Great.
You bring a water bottle into the movie?
I did, yeah.
You freaking child.
What?
I mean, you really are cheap.
I did it.
But not only that, it's like you're so constantly dehydrated. You're like one of my kids. You always got to walk around with a tankard of water.
Do they have a soda fountain there?
They do, but I don't want to pay like $5 or $6. I don't think it's that much.
I'm with you.
Yeah, of course Adam's with you. Adam just brings an empty bag and just goes before the movie and picks up the trash.
Well,
I got the backpack
and then
with
uses
the hose
bag to fill up in the bathroom sink.
I've seen people do that before. You're like, that seems like poo water. Seems like a lot of pooey hands have touched that, and you're just ingesting it. You brought a big because you don't want to pay for the soda.
Yeah.
Do you fill the water bottle with soda?
No.
Yeah.
No,
That's
I didn't want
to go
to.
to jail for that.
Yeah.
That's stealing.
Great action, great storyline, great just about everything. Good story. You know, has the elements of the first original 3.
He's just reading Roger Ebert's.
This sounds like the New York Times review.
Yeah, I mean, it's just regurgitating what he's read.
All right. Let's get to some plot stuff here.
Okay.
Don't spoil anything.
Yep.
Oh, I hated that. Don't spoil. Like everyone's gonna get so mad. Oh, you spoiled stupid Jurassic World.
Dinosaur.
Yeah. Oh, there's dinosaur. You said too much.
Don't spoil anything, but talk to me about the movie. What happens?
So they want to go back to the OG islands. So they have to go to this island. And then, so they're on the island. They find the 3 objectives that they need to find. And now they're just trying to get off the island. And, shenanigans happens. There's dinosaurs, flying land, sea, and air dinosaurs.
What was your favorite dinosaur in the movie?
How do I say it without spoiling it?
Oh, yeah.
Well, first of all,
tread carefully.
How long does this take?
The setting, did he say it was in space or is it on a continent? Where is it?
It's a peninsula.
I think you mentioned island a couple of times.
So they want to go back to the OG islands. So they have to go to this island. And now they're just trying to get off the island. And then, so they're on the island. Shenanigans happens.
Yes.
Well, of course shenanigans happens. That's the plot.
As Arnold Schwarzenegger would say, the one that's one ugly son of a bitch. How about that?
It's in the trailers.
The ugly one?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, I'll look into it afterward.
I guess.
Yeah, so that ugly one's like the best dinosaur I've seen. So ugly.
Hey, Bert, that girl was looking at you in the movies. Which one?
The ugly one?
No, it's like the Lyle Lovett. Just Lyle Lovett. That wasn't a dinosaur. That was just Lyle Lovett walking around. No, that was Sarah Jessica Parker.
The ugly one?
That wasn't a dinosaur. It was a horse.
So ugly.
Can you imagine thinking that's a spoiler? I don't want to give too much away. I can't describe the attractiveness of the dinosaur. I mean, that would blow it.
Ugly son of a bitch.
I paid my $15 to go see this ugly dinosaur, and you've blown it already for me. All right, and they continue.
Who stars in the movie? Who are the big stars?
Scarlett Johansson. Don't ask me to name the rest of the other guys. They're all just like C or B list celebrities, actors and actresses. I have no idea who they are.
Was this your favorite role she's been?
Is this your favorite role she's been?
Yeah.
Was there any other stars in the movie, or is he right that it's no names besides her?
There's one. There's another actor that.
Okay, so he was right. That's what you're saying.
Was this your favorite role she's been?
No.
Okay, what's your favorite?
I don't know, dude. All I know is Avengers. We built a zoo. She was in with Matt Damon. What was the other one she was in? She's in a bunch of them. I can't think of any of them off the top of my head right now.
Yeah.
We built a zoo.
We built a zoo.
You remember that great movie? We built, Matt Damon, they get cinder blocks and the poor foundation and get the infrastructure. They built a zoo. They built a zoo.
They built a zoo. And, you know, they started.
We built a zoo.
Started with a couple cats, a dog. Then they got a turkey. You know, they built a zoo from nothing. Just a couple of yokels. All right.
There was one part of the film he did not like.
How many porch parties?
I gotta guess. Does it involve smooching?
How many porch?
He does not like heterosexual love. That he does not like.
How many porch parties would you give this?
I give it 4.6. 4.6 porch parties.
What did you like about this movie?
Oh, the two grass-eating dinosaurs were kissing or hugging necks or whatever the hell they were doing. I was like, come on. They had like a cheesy family. They had like a cheesy family kissing moment with dinosaurs. It wasn't really kissing, but you know what I mean. No need for it. I mean, in the other Jurassic Parks, you don't see them any other dinosaurs like, you know, making love connections, whether rubbing horns or noses or legs. I don't know what the hell four-legged creatures do.
Yeah, he does not like any form of intimacy. He hates it.
Too much kissing.
Yeah, any kind of perceived intimacy between anyone.
Rubbing horns or noses or legs. I don't know what the hell.
Yeah, he hates it. Yeah. He says this doesn't belong in this at all. Blow him up.
No need for it.
I mean, he watches porno and he's like, I mean, I see that there's a stepmother. She's angry at the kid, and now all of a sudden they're having sex. Stay angry. I just want to see a video of a stepmother punishing the young man, making him sweep.
Now, in the interest of time, we cannot get to Bird listing off all of his favorite dinosaurs or the conversation about Nick, who wanted to be an anthropologist and study dinosaurs as a young man, but there was one particular.
They had a good at the Suffolk Community College. They had a great anthropology program.
but there is some discussion of one dinosaur in particular.
I'm sorry. Here we go. Here we go.
All right, I'm going to quiz you real quick. What was the water dinosaur? What was the name of that?
I could hear the doctor in the movie saying his name, and I just can't remember. Adolphosaurus or something?
Oh. It was the Adolphosaurus.
My bad boy.
That's right. Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's,
yes.
It walks slowly to dumpsters.
No.
Adolphosaurus Rex.
It's like crashing your butt.
All right, Nicholas. Thank you so much for having Bird out there. It was a lovely time. I'm glad you guys enjoyed the film. I'm sorry he went to the wrong theater, but those are the breaks. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Chris Forsberg will be joining us.
T-Rexes, they got Raptors. Did I say it right? Adolphosaurus, I think. Pterodactyl. Mastodon, Triceratops, saber-toothed tigers, T-Rexes, Raptors, by old dinosaur, whatever. I don't know. I could be wrong.
More Toucher and Hardy next on the Sports Hub.
All right, so summer is here. You want to relax, but work needs to be done on your home. Don't worry, you don't have to do it.
Knock on wood. But I never had it yet.
Oh, you said you didn't want to hear more music in the morning. Okay. Here's more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
The Boston Celtics select Hugo Gonzalez from Madrid and last played for Real Madrid.
This great weather, so that we're enjoying. First of all, what are your feelings on the moves? I don't think we've talked to you. What are your thoughts so far on the moves the Celtics have made this offseason?
Yeah, necessary evil, right? Like it's no fun, and especially if you're a fan. Like I've had a lot of people that are maybe casual basketball people that are like, "Wait, I don't understand. Like, why are we trading Kristaps Porzingis for Georges Niang?" And the reality is the CBA has complicated how you put together a roster. The Celtics got ahead of it, won a title. The rent has come due a little bit here. The idea that Jason Tatum is going to miss all this time as well complicates matters. So ultimately, it just put the Celtics in a tough situation. And I think Brad did about as good as he could have done to get below that second apron, to start the process of trimming money. I think there's still dominoes to fall. But I do think it's going to open some pathways to start figuring out what the next iteration of this roster looks like. And it's not very fun in the moment, and I don't exactly know what next year will look like. But there's a pathway back to being a title contender.
I haven't asked this yet, but why do you think Portland won at Holiday?
It's a good question. We were joking last night. I wonder who called who first.
It just is an odd team for him to go to. Like they got too caught up on the end of the season or something.
Yeah. So I think a couple things. I think, one, every team in the league feels like they're a player or two away from being truly competitive. And I think Portland really likes the young core it has, that it wants to lean into a defensive reputation. And sometimes you just need to teach young players how to win, how to take that next step. And Drew Holiday, like, we can sit here and debate how much he's got left in the tank, and I think he still can be a very good player, and maybe even thrust into a bigger role. He can go back. There were times in Milwaukee where he scored much more than he had to in Boston. But I think he's just nurturing Scoot Henderson, nurturing that young team, and just trying to put them on a pathway to being competitive. Do I think it puts them on par with the Thunder and the Rockets? No, but like, you do need to sometimes just get guys like that to establish a winning culture. And I think he could be really good for them. But I am surprised. I mean, for them to have to attach picks to make the deal, and for Brad to not have to. The big storyline was, Brad Stevens is going to have to attach a first-round pick to get off that money. And instead, you get a young player that has a defined skill set. And it's a really good swing for Boston there in terms of what they got back, even if it didn't cut as much money as maybe we thought it would in moving out Drew Holiday.
Looking at this roster now, there aren't a lot of bigs, and I was pretty surprised they didn't take one at the end of the first round last night. Who are going to be the bigs on this team in the fall?
Yeah, well, first off, tonight I think you'll see like Kalkbrenner and Reynaud will both be available. At the start of round 2. I wonder if the Celtics would lean there. They typically don't prioritize need over value, but if it's a tiebreaker, if you look at your roster and say, hey, look, right now Nimi Keita is the only big sign for next season. But I think part of the dominoes that will fall moving forward will be the clearing more money, trying to get to a spot where you can re-sign Luke Cornett, maybe re-sign Al Horford. Some of that will be dictated by the market that those players have. And but I think there's a good chance both are back. And just, again, trying to maintain as much as the score as you can. But they do have to clear the money. Right now, they're only a little bit below that second apron. You got to probably get – but I know it's like sticker shock, but like Luke Cornett is a $12 million, $14 million player now based on the way he played. And you have to decide if you're going to be the team that pays him that money, and how do you clear that money to get there.
Were you getting nervous at all about the prospect of them moving Jaylen Brown, because the chatter seemed to be increasing, and whether it was coming from a real place or not, I don't know. Was any of the Jaylen Brown trade prior to the draft last night real, or was that just people getting excited for the possibility of it happening?
I think we all understand that the situation the Celtics are in, they have to explore everything, that you have to listen to what offers are out there. I always thought it was going to take just – like an unbelievable offer for them to even consider moving on from either Jaylen Brown or Derek White. it's so hard to know if what teams are willing to part with. I thought it was interesting that I know Austin Ainge got asked about it in Utah last night and said, we never contacted the Celtics about it. Naturally, like all of us try to connect dots and what teams would be interested. You start thinking about where Jalen grew up in Atlanta. You start thinking about Danny and Austin being in Utah. Like, would these teams be willing to put together packages that were intriguing? Ultimately, I just don't think the Celtics were ever going to be overwhelmed by what they got. And I think I'll continue to say it. Like, I think they're really excited about what the possibility is if Jalen is the focal point of this roster, finding out how he can do in that role and like the way he'll embrace that and the way that he is typically kind of gone up a level whenever he's been put in that situation. And it's between him and Derek, Peyton, like I still think there's a ton of talent here in a kind of wide open Eastern Conference. And I'm not telling you they're championship level, but I think they'll be fun. I think they'll be, in the mix. I think the natural without that burden of expectations that sort of hovered over them last year, I think you just play a little bit more free. And so I think they'll be interesting. I don't know like which way it'll tip. And they've got, again, flexibility to decide like if things don't go well, you can pivot mid-season next year. You can explore, the same sort of options that are available now. And maybe you're more likely to make a bold decision. But I just didn't think at this point. Remember too, like new ownership coming in. I don't think Bill Chisholm wants to come in and watch a watered down product. Like he's a super fan. He wants to see this team succeed. And I think Jalen and Derek White are a big part of that.
Okay. There is the team not wanting to get rid of Jaylen Brown, but there's also the other side is are you confident that the Celtics were getting a lot of calls? Like it seemed, because you've seen lesser players go for a lot. And the way that the NBA is now, you could make a very good argument that trading Brown right now would be the correct thing to do based on, parity and needing depth and the reality of them taking up more than 50% of your salary cap, all of those things. Like, did you hear anything about, were there teams super interested? You mentioned Utah said they didn't reach out. That seems odd to me. I just expected last night a lot of talk, like a lot of speculation on Jaylen Brown, and it just wasn't there. It didn't seem like anything was cooking.
I think, especially considering, I thought there would be guys that missed out on Durant, guys that don't think they have enough to go get Giannis. Teams that I thought they would think there was a market there, and that we would hear more chatter. That teams would try to overwhelm, and it's usually when that happens, when teams are from the outside trying to pursue a player. Sometimes that's where all the rumors originate from, right? Like they're trying to create a stir, trying to like get a market for that player. And I wonder if like, again, it just never got close enough to rise to the level where, it really felt like there was something out there that either side would commit to. Now, look, it's a weird off season. No one has cap space. Teams are still kind of figuring out what the next step is. You can still trade all these draft guys. So if San Antonio sits back and says, Dylan Harper just doesn't fit our future, you can still go explore Giannis. You can explore Jalen. Like, there's still going to be opportunities. I just go back to it. From a Celtic perspective, I just feel like they're pretty comfortable with where they're at. They like the flexibility. You can still kind of like get into the year and see what happens. And I don't know if there's any rush to sort of make rash decisions on the core of this team based on the circumstances that you're kind of navigating.
Do you think that they could be successful with two guys taking up that much of the salary cap?
I think it's hard, and I think you have to draft right. I think you have to prioritize getting some picks here and hitting on them and really like leaning into a pathway that you haven't had to navigate in probably since Jalen and Jason, right? Like maximizing every pick. And they're probably not going to be lucky enough to be at 3, but you're going to be at, can you trade up into the mid-lottery? Can you find complementary pieces? Certainly, like, look, I'm a numbers nerd. I'm not telling you the math is easy. I'm not saying it's sustainable. I think we're going to see it around the league that when two guys are commanding 35% of the cap and take up 70% of the cap, it's like really, really hard. But can you find a series of 10 to $14 million players that are your core instead of the $30 million that Kristaps and Drew Holiday were eating up? I mean, that's the challenge. And you've got to find the next batch of Derek Whites. And it sounds so simple, but obviously it's not. And so I think that's what the Celtics challenge is here is you got to really hone in and identify what the next couple swings are and you got to be patient while waiting for Tatum because truly, I believe them when they say they don't have a firm grasp on like when exactly he'll be back. But I think everyone's sort of planning for 2 years out.
Yeah. And I think it would be disastrous to rush him. Is everyone, because I was under the impression that based on Kobe and Durant that, it was a foregone conclusion that he'd, get back up to where he was. But then the guys here on the show were telling me about, there's really just like a 50%. What did you guys say it was? What percentage chance was it, Hardy? You said?
Yeah, but all those dudes were super old.
Yeah, well, Durant was 2 years
okay,
older.
so for like all athletes, it's like 70%, but for basketball, it's closer down to 50 in terms of like full return to form.
Now, I think he's going to come back, so let's get that out of the way. I don't want to sound like I'm wishing ill on the guy. Like, I do think he'll come back, but I think I hear people on this station going like, well, it could be, 6 months, and I'm thinking, well, that's not a good idea. Like, don't have him for a year and make sure he doesn't get hurt. Like, if my point is that if it's like a 50% thing for basketball players in general, I like his chances a lot more than that. But I also wouldn't want to screw around with him this season, so I'm kind of writing off this season.
I couldn't agree more. The other part of it is when Durant tore his Achilles, he was 3 years older than Tatum, so I don't think the comp is there. And you remember Kobe, guys. Kobe was much older than both of them.
But they both came back.
They both came back, but Kobe isn't a fair comparison because he was already 34, 35.
But I'm comparing them positively to him.
Yes, they actually came back and played. Yes,
Durant is still a top 20 player.
But he misses all kinds of time now. He misses more games now.
But is that because of his Achilles? I don't know. I'm honestly I'm not arguing.
I think the big thing for me comes down to Tatum is the sort of player that's going to want to come back as fast. He's going to look at the way Kobe came back quick and say, man, I'm going to beat that timeline. And I think the Celtics, the hardest thing they're going to navigate next year is trying to tell him, hey, you got to put in, you just pace yourself here. Like it's just in my mind. And again, I'm not a doctor. I don't know these things, but it seems super ambitious to think that if he's healthy right before the start of the playoffs next year, that the right thing is to throw him into a high-pressure situation where everything is amplified and that be his first basketball. It sounds like a recipe for disaster, and I just hope they tread cautiously with that, with the idea that there's sort of a longer-term vision here, even if that's just not next season, but the season after. Just everything should be geared towards maximizing that potential when he is a go. But that shouldn't take away from what happens next year. I think this team can still be in the mix. They can be fun, and I can think they can be better than what the expectation will be without Tatum.
See, I think they were presented an opportunity to kind of turn this thing over in real time and with an eye on the next not this season, but the following season. And they if they don't do something that now, they're going to miss that opportunity. But just in terms of the injury, it would be like if Paul Skeens got Tommy John surgery, in say Pittsburgh, it's an alternate universe, and Pittsburgh's in the playoffs. And he blows out his elbow in the playoffs. And Pittsburgh makes the playoffs the following season. You pitching Paul Skeens? No, I'm not right. No, that elbow is worth more to me than that season. That's the same thing with Tatum's Achilles. I'm not screwing around with that thing. All right, we'll be back. Can you hang on, Forsberg?
Of course,
because we haven't even gotten into who they took.
I know.
We got to break that down.
Hugo talk
thoroughly.
Yeah, this Luka Jr. over here from Real Madrid.
Yeah.
We'll start talking about him. All right. Thank you, Chris. We'll be back with you. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius.
and I'm not sure I understood how real until they were staring me in the face in the last month. So I do think that I think that can't be overstated.
Yes, that is absolutely correct. Any debate that they should have stayed over the second apron or that Wick Grosbeck would have stayed over the second apron is nonsense. You wouldn't have done it. You listening would not have done it. I wouldn't have done it. No one in this room would have done it. No one. $500 million is not worth it. It's not. There is one thing about the cynicism of Bert saying that the owners are basically playing a trading places game with the audience where the fans where they care more about how you're doing business than winning on the football field, which I do think is fascinating. But there's also losing $500 million for no reason.
So, Chris, if they had like run the table and just swept their way to another championship, and I understand that Porzingis would have had to have been healthy and all that stuff, even then, would there have been a chance you think they would have tried to bring back this same team?
I think there would have had to been some consideration to it, but I think the moves you saw made already were probably going to happen regardless. And maybe you're tempted if Tatum is healthy and they just run through the playoffs again to keep this thing together, and then you pay the super high.
Okay,
tax bill. But
give everyone what would have the tax bill been?
So it would have been $500 million. So
$500 million, and that's in addition, by the
No, I think
that's total spend. It would have been a $230 million roster, a $270 million tax bill.
My bad. It was $270 million tax bill. My bad. that changes everything.
Total of $500 million for one season.
Now, I don't believe that the Celtics bring in $500 million. In totality, when you factor in all the other expenses.
The fact that they don't own their own building kind of hampers that effort.
I'm wondering how much gross they make a year, and I know it's many, many millions of dollars. I'm not sure if it's $500 million. I mean, they have a practice facility and all these other things, a staff that's off the court, doctors and things, real doctors. I mean, those don't run cheap. You got the guy that takes Missoula through the rainforest. They went on a 3-mile hike.
Barefoot.
Like old people. There were sticks and everything.
Josh Waitzkin, I believe his name is. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's his name, and he's part of the team now, and he's part of the whole thing that goes on there.
He just kind of wanders around in the background. Yeah.
And then Chris, if you don't know, they went from very hot saunas into cold waters, so it was like they were at Lifetime. It was.
Do you ever do that, Brad? Do you do the cold plunge?
Not only do I do it, Chris. I did it yesterday. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It wasn't hot enough outside for your boy, so I went sauna, cold plunge, steam. That's why the skin looks like it does today. I don't know if you're on YouTube. You can see me. You're on Zoom.
Yeah, I can. You look great.
Thanks, buddy. All right, so let's talk about who they took. Hugo Gonzalez, Adolfo's cousin. He's from Real Madrid. They got him when he was 9. So I would imagine if you're S out of luck if you're 9 years old in Spain and they haven't discovered you yet as the next basketball prodigy. But he's apparently, I've read 4 sentences on him, and I'll tell you this, Chris. He's a hard worker. Mm-hmm. That's what I've gleaned from this.
Can't shoot, but a hard worker.
Doesn't matter. He's a hard worker.
High motor, I think, is the line we're going to use most frequently.
That's
I
right.
think if you do watch his tape, he plays hard. He cuts. He does a lot of the things that I think the Celtics want to kind of tweak with their offense. And I'm not telling you that the 19-year-old 28th pick from Spain is going to come in and get a ton of time here, but I do think the goal ultimately is to find players that play a certain way. I think what we saw every year after watching the NBA Finals, I think teams
TJ McConnell.
I don't know if TJ's a better scorer than Hugo will probably be, but I do think if you're telling me we're gonna get a backcourt of Hugo and Peyton Pritchard, like that could be fun. Just gritty guys that are scrappy, scrappy guys.
White. Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
That is another synonym.
That's right.
It's all code.
It's made for Boston. All right. So but there is interesting. They have a pick at the top of the second round, and this should not go unnoticed because there are a couple big men available. And again, I don't know anything about this, but I did hear an analyst yesterday saying the kid from Creighton, fifth-year senior,
Ryan Kalkbrenner.
Yeah, in his mind projects to be a starting center in the NBA. Now, it's not Karl Anthony Towns or anything. Well, probably a bad example. He's not Anthony Davis or anything, but he could be a starting center, and that's not nothing. I mean, if the Celtics in the second round under that pay can get a guy who can be their starting center for a couple years, that sounds like a win for me. What are you hearing about the top end of this draft? They go big for sure.
You know what? I don't think you ever lean on need because needs change so quickly. You make a couple roster moves, all of a sudden you're overflowing with centers. But undeniably, like right now, that's the most obvious need for this team. And if nothing else, to put someone in the pipeline long term, even if you bring back Cornette and Al, like you need some younger bodies to start developing. So I don't hate the idea, and I think they know, if they're at pick 32, that one of those guys is almost certainly going to be there, whether it's Maxime Reynaud from Stanford or Kalkbrenner from Creighton. Now Kalkbrenner is a little bit like Luke Cornette 2.0. Very similar players. I'm not sure if the personality is the same, but the same buzz is out there. Like he's good enough defensively and can give you what you need offensively, that he's going to be if nothing else, a high level reserve at the NBA level. Reynaud's a little bit more intriguing, more of a floor stretcher, can shoot the three. Really smart kid, high basketball IQ. I wouldn't hate either of those players there, but there's also like a whole batch of wings. And again, I'm not the biggest draft guy, but I sit there and watch a lot of these highlight videos after the season ends and try to tune my mind into what Brad Stevens might be looking for. And there's guys like Adu Thero who just are super athletic and could sort of follow the Hugo mold there, where they're maybe a little bit raw, but bring some crazy athleticism.
Just sounds like you're making noises at this point. You're like Tugo and Cockbo and Dugo. I mean, you're just making sounds. I mean, you're so in the weeds with these guys. My God, slow down for the rest of us.
I'm sorry, Fred. I get excited. I had to put in a lot of research because a week ago
I understand, but you're moving at a very advanced level that I can't follow. And if I can't follow it, certainly John can. All right, so
he's got
what does Wallach want? Wallach must have a guy.
He wants to be on the road to Philadelphia, but that's not until tomorrow afternoon.
That's true.
He's going to his in-laws' house
after
this
the show.
week.
Very excited.
So he's fit to be tied. He checked out a long time ago. What would you like him to do, John?
I'd like them to re-sign either Cornette or Horford, one or the other, to save money.
You don't want both?
Well, no, because you're so bumped up against that second apron. They still need to clear out money. And you were just talking about how Cornette's a $12 million player. How much is Horford going to command?
Well,
you don't have the room. You don't have people you can clear out to sign both of these guys. So you sign one of them and you draft a center tonight.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably the most prudent pathway forward. I wonder, obviously Luke's already taken the hometown discount to come back last year. I don't think you're getting any discounts. Just like he's put himself in position to be paid, and there's going to be teams out there that will pay him. And I think that's the one you gotta pony up the cash for and make sure he's here. Al, I wonder, like if Al is just committed to doesn't want to play anywhere else. Can you bring him back? He's made $300+ million. The problem is going to be there's going to be a market for him, and I think teams like Detroit, where with his Michigan roots, you start looking around the league. There are teams that are going to want him, and will Al be willing to play for cheaper money, knowing that maybe they can pace him a little bit here, then knowing the system and how it goes. I do think it's ambitious to think they can get both back, but I think Brad coming out last night and sort of announcing it sort of shows that that's the team's hope in terms of filling out that front court. And then if you get a young guy, that's good for the future, and learning from a Al Horford wouldn't be the worst thing for any of these guys.
Yeah, I mean it would be great to learn from Al, but if you're depending on how you're looking at this next season and what their expectation is for Tatum and the team going forward, bringing back Al Horford for a year seems kind of silly almost. I mean, it's that.
Which is why they're going to sign him to a 2 or 3 year deal.
Yeah, it'll be 2 years with an option or something like that. Like you're going to give yourself some flexibility and let him have the ability to if Father Time ever catches up with him. But yeah, no, look, I think
you're right. It probably won't. Yeah, he'll probably play forever. No, it's
hopefully
like it's done.
Veteran minimum. Like something like that,
I don't know. We can only dream. All right, look, Chris Forsberg. I mean, that's the stuff of fantasy. I mean, let's not count our chickens. Chris Forsberg, we've missed you so much. It's such a great treat to get to talk to you. He will be all over NBC Sports Boston, I'm sure, as the Celtics news comes out fast and furious. Enjoy yourself, Myrtle Beach or wherever the hell you're doing. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, y'all. I'll see you soon.
All right, there you go. The great Chris Forsberg. There was a big announcement by one of the teams locally yesterday, and I was told not to look at it, and I am told that it was a real wowzer, so I'll be the judge of that. We'll be back in just a moment.
Toucher and Hardy, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Imagine life with clear, crisp.
Hub headline, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Celtics did not make a trade during the first round of the NBA draft last night, so they stayed at number 28 and selected 6'6" Spanish swingman Hugo Gonzalez. Brad Stevens likes a lot of what Gonzalez brings to a team that may go unnoticed.
We talk about sacrificing your body on defense. We talk about competing on defense. We talk about flying back in transition and blocking a shot and catching up to a play. Those are the things that he's willing to do that I like. I think he will become a better shooter. I believe that.
Gonzalez is 19 years old. He just spent last season with Real Madrid. He is reportedly expected to come stateside and play here next winter. The Green also have the second overall selection in the second round of the draft coming up tonight. Up at the top of the first round at number 1, as expected, Dallas took Cooper Flagg. Red Sox got swept by the Angels yesterday, 5-2 in Anaheim. They've lost 5 in a row. They have tonight off. They'll host Toronto tomorrow night. The NHL and the Players Association will reportedly announce the framework of a new labor agreement tomorrow before the draft. It will include an 84-game season, and Nashville SC forward Sam Surridge had a hat trick, and they beat the New England Revolution in Foxborough last night 3-2. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by AutoFair. It's the summer of savings at AutoFair. Over 2,200 vehicles with great savings are available at autofair.com. Save big this summer at AutoFair. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
Get the app.
There's the potential there for big stuff.
98.5 The Sports Hub app. Get the app. What's the best way to Toucher and Hardy?
Well, you're going to have to spend $40.
Cough it up, and let's get back to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Yeah, I'm fortunate enough. Adam pulled the new logo out for me to.
Managed to a degree that it's almost criminal. All right, but that leads us not away from the Bruins, but right back to the Bruins, because yesterday, I know you all probably saw it, there was a huge announcement, Hardy.
Very big. The Bruins posted it on their social media with the title, "A Look Back with an Eye to the Future." So let us listen to the audio here, Fred. I'm going to describe only what needs description, and you tell me if you can figure out plot-wise if there are any questions you have. You're going to have to answer them yourself,
okay,
because I don't get it.
Here we go.
Well documented, but his friendship with a well-known actor go back a long way. The friendship goes back to the days.
Is this Tom Caron?
It sounds like Tom Caron. He's talking about Cam Neely and his friendship with Michael J. Fox. Right? So Michael J. Fox is at home watching, a
big hockey guy, Michael J. Fox, as he's Canadian.
Yes.
The celebrity hockey fans, few and far between. Tom Hanks' son. Big Kings fan. Keep that in your back pocket.
Cuba Gooding Jr., too, for a time.
Loves Duncan
until he blew it all up. All right, here we go.
Well documented, but his friendship with a well-known actor go back a long way. The friendship goes back to the days when both were young and living in Vancouver. Here to speak to us tonight, please welcome Michael J. Fox.
Michael J. Fox is now calling Cam Neely.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, Mike. What's up, man? Everything good?
Home-cooked meatball.
Jumbo home-cooked meatball.
Jumbo home-cooked meatball. Somehow the Farrelly brothers turned him into an actor.
Yeah.
Somehow they got him to act, but every time I hear him talk, he sounds like a robot. He's like B-Rob, an older, tougher B-Rob. Home-cooked meatball. 23.9% from 3.
I'm sorry.
Okay, that's no problem.
B-Rob was on with us the day you fell ill.
Yeah, I won't have him on. I hate him.
Yeah, well,
there's a firm rule that B-Rob is not to be on the show.
Yeah, well, that's why we brought him on the day you weren't here, so you wouldn't make sport of him.
You're lucky, because I would have really laid into him if I was
know.
here. I hate him.
Uncomfortable.
No, I think he would admit when he does color analyze, it sounds funny. He knows his stuff. It just sounds funny. He sounds like a robot. I mean, he does. I don't think his goal is to be a color analyst in the NBA. I think his goal is to be a great writer and reporter, which he is. So there.
Hey, Mike. What's up, man? Everything good?
Yeah, I was sitting here watching your jersey retirement, and I was thinking how sweet your sweater is. I was thinking how cool it would be to go back.
All right, so he's saying the sweater is cool.
Sweater is cool. How cool it would be to go back.
Okay.
You know, as much as I'd love to. You know, it's been almost 30 years. I've got 4 joint replacements. I can't see.
Hell yeah, 420. Yeah. I'd like to replace this joint that I'm smoking with another one, with another doobie. Some more Mary Jane. You catch me?
You know, it's been almost 30 years. I've got 4 joint replacements. I can't see. Seriously.
No, that's not.
Get out of the job. Jesus, you can't see. No wonder your draft sucks.
30 years. I've got 4 joint replacements. I can't see. Seriously.
No, that's not what I meant. So how am I going back to something like this?
And he screenshots the
He
sweater.
gets an erection.
And then he
Oh, that's the universal sound of erection.
sends Cam a text of
Hello.
the jersey that he's talking
You
about.
see a pair of big butt cheeks.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey.
Boing, 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 boing. What they're announcing must have curves in all the right places. That's what it sounds backwards. That's when you lose your bonus. This is when Rosie O'Donnell comes in the room.
It's like the backup signal on a truck. Yeah.
It's like you walk into the room and there's a dude in the corner. He's leaving.
Oh, he's not an old man.
I brought you something to play with. Yes, he was at the library.
Oh, why you got your britches hiked up so high for?
Oh, you won't be needing that cane, for you'll be prone. Ah, the farmer's market. You're having trouble getting around. Why don't you get in the car? Now,
I'll
this
drive
pillow.
you home. Won't be to your home.
Let's just call this place the hottest hospice in town. All right, very good. Here we go.
Yeah, those were pretty sweet. But I think it's time to look to the future.
People love going back.
You know what? I actually have an idea.
All right, so they're about to go
Okay.
back to the future because it's Michael J. Fox. I figured that much out.
Okay, Back to the Future. Now, this is where I need your help.
Okay.
Okay? So he's sitting, Michael J. Fox sitting at home, back and forth, talking to and texting with Cam Neely, and then someone's going to come through the door.
Yeah, it's me. Send in 73.
Time-traveling sound. Now the time traveling is stopped.
Charlie McAvoy?
All right, Charlie McAvoy.
Charlie McAvoy walks in the door of Michael J. Fox's home as an old man.
Oh, good. So we're reminding of our imminent death, our inevitable death. Let's go to the future when the young kid's about to die.
So Cam Neely picks up the phone and says, send in 73, which means Charlie McAvoy, as an old man, is now walking through the door of Michael J. Fox's home.
Well, that's good news for the McAvoy family. He lives to be very old.
Yes.
And Michael J. Fox lives forever.
Continue, please.
Charlie McAvoy?
Taking a dump. Okay.
More good news. He still can move his bowels at an old age.
Someone mic'd up Zolak at the Honey Pot.
Honey Pot Hill situation.
If Charlie McAvoy's having a Honey Pot Hill situation.
Charlie McAvoy walks in the door and says, you sell pies?
We got a Honey Pot Hill situation.
Hey, ladies, you might want to move away from that window.
Michael, I'm here from the future.
Yeah, he sounds old. Hey, I'm old. Michael, I'm from the future, old. Wait, if he's from the future,
Thank you.
why is he old?
Makes no sense at all.
No, he'd be from the past.
Yeah. Well, no.
Well, not only that,
from the present, I don't understand why he has to be from the future.
Oh, he went from the future where he's old back to now.
Yes.
Why? There's no reason for that.
Okay.
You don't
Well,
send him.
All right. Well,
this is why Fred is here to explain it to us.
Please.
Okay, so Charlie McAvoy got old. They've invented time travel. He's come back to talk to Michael J. Fox.
No, they already had the time travel because Cam picks up the phone and says send in 73. So he is going to send Charlie McAvoy from the future to Michael J. Fox's home.
Wait. Okay. So
Okay, why is
this
he
is Cam Neely and Michael J. Fox now?
Yes.
Okay. But
So Cam Neely picks up the phone after he gets done. He goes, you know what? That New Jersey idea is a good one. I like that. Yeah, let's go back to the old sweater. Send in 73, meaning send Charlie McAvoy from the future to Michael J. Fox's home. For what reason? Continue.
Michael, I'm here from the future, and I got a special delivery from your good buddy Cam.
Wow. That's what I was talking about.
Boston built, powered by tradition.
Hands him the new sweater.
they show him in a ventilator?
he hands him the new sweater, Boston built,
Or is it a
powered by
blue velvet
tradition.
situation where he's just huffing nitrous? All right, so I'm sorry, what happens? So he hands him what?
He hands him the new logo, the new sweater logo.
Oh, for the Boston Bruins.
Correct.
I'm really uninformed about any of this. I don't know what happened. All right, so this is a new uniform. Okay.
Kind of.
Sort of.
All right.
Not really.
No.
It's cool they got Michael J. Fox.
Yeah,
I love
will
that.
say that.
That's cool in itself. That's
Yes.
true.
I mean,
Yes.
I'll hand it to him for trying.
Yeah.
I mean, they did. Okay. I still don't really
A
understand.
lot of weirdness
You know what
involved.
this reminds me of? The Valvoline instant oil change commercials that I have to shoot where Santa Claus shows up and it's like for no reason. It's like in the middle of it, I'm like, hold on a second. Can we rewrite this script? Because it doesn't make any sense here.
It's absurdist humor. Right. It's like Monty Python. Very influenced.
No, Charlie, where you going?
Where I'm going, I don't need my skates.
There's no ponds in heaven?
No.
I don't like that. Maybe it's always warm.
My question, why does Cam have to pick up the phone, say, get Charlie McAvoy from the future to go to Michael J. Fox's house to give him the sweater?
Which has just been invented in the present tense.
Right.
But because the future is it's so futuristic, the new uniform.
I see.
It's made of materials not known. It's made of plutonium.
Of course.
But instead of plutonium, you can use garbage in the future. It's made of garbage.
Now, yeah, I understand.
They're trying to tell you it's trash.
It's Michael J. Fox, so you have to do something Back to the Future.
Right.
What else are you going to do?
Well,
Bright Lights, Big City?
Well, they did adapt that book in a wonderful way. I guess he really was quite a party man when they were doing that film too. But no, you do Family Ties. You have a sensitive PBS guy with a beard. Oh, I know what you do. Oh my God, I'm so much better than them. Here's what you do: this is hysterical. So you have Michael J. Fox. How hard can it be to get Michael Gross and like Tina Yothers?
Yeah.
And then you go and you have them all get together. What happens at the beginning of Family Ties? They paint the family. And so Charlie McAvoy's there and the artist paints AI, New Jersey onto the family. Ah! That would have been 1,000 times funnier. Oh, Fred, you've done it again. Your knowledge of 80 sitcoms has won the day. He's as well known. Now, Back to the Future is a bigger hit, but he's very well known for Family Ties. That makes more sense. And he could kind of make fun of the show. You could do the one where Tom Hanks, you get him where he's drinking the vanilla because he's an alcoholic.
And he shows up and he looks at the new sweater. This thing sucks.
Yeah,
and then he tips over a table.
Or you could have Michael J. Fox with a spotlight on him, like the episode, the two-parter where his friend died in a car crash. You know? Or the one where he took amphetamines to study all night. I mean, you could really get deep into this. We could have made it an hour and a half hour long thing. All right, let me see the new uniform. Who's got the new uniform? I want to see the futuristic uniform.
I want to know what a guy who gets an old guy to play with would do with old Charlie McAvoy. Is really
Jesus.
what I would like to know.
I mean, it's all the same joke. He'd put a pillow over his head. All right, so let me see here. The new Bruins uniform.
Hardy's
All right.
pulling it up for you. The new sweater with the new logo.
Okay.
You've never seen it before.
All
Now do you get it?
All right, because now that we made fun of it for so long, this isn't going to hit. But like, okay, I honestly can't tell you what's different about that. Swear to God, swear on everything that means something to me.
It's more block lettering like what they used to have when I was a kid. That's the difference.
New spoked bees, new shoulder patch, new hem loop.
Yeah.
Oh, well, the hem loop obviously has been...
throwback stripe, and the Rapid 7 sponsor patch.
It's the 1975 uniform with extra stripes is what that is.
You'd have to be a very big fan to understand that
You'd
that was any way different.
You'd have to be Kevin Majori from the afternoon
Yes.
show, who owns 150 of them.
Yeah.
Or you'd have to have some kind of condition where you're like just super hyper focused on sweaters, and that was like you could name any sweater like from memory. That would be kind of a useless thing to be focused on. You could be curing cancer or something like that. All right. Well, that's kind of went out with a thud. Like, that's the new uniform?
That's it.
Okay. Boy, they really want you to buy stuff. I mean, if you had, I don't know if, boy, you'd really have to have an eye for detail to figure that out. That's almost like an Easter egg.
It's like one of those side-by-side in the highlights magazine.
Exactly.
Guess
like,
the difference.
Can you guess the difference? No.
The 5 differences between these two sweaters. No.
I see numbers. Like the numbers. There's a number on the shoulder. Is that just the picture? Oh, that's just the picture. Oh, that's not even on the jersey. That's just pointing out the new stuff. They had to use numbers. Like when you build something and they pointed the screws.
Yep.
They had to put numbers up there to show you what's different. Oh, that's great. Oh, well, listen. Again, congratulations on getting Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, that part of it we like.
You should have done Family Ties. It would have been way better, and you should have painted it on. It's not too late, but maybe you bring me in. I could freelance for any of your companies. These ideas just come to me. All right. We'll be back in just a moment with our email. I got actually a lot of emails today. We'll read them in just a moment.
is Boston Sports. Boston Sports. And it is all we do. 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Why do people listen to Touch?
Because it's a thing.
All right.
You know what I'm talking about.
Sure.
No idea what you're talking about.
Here's more of The Thing on the Sports Hub.
You know, I got an idea for a bit. The email bit. We should do the email bit. It's a great idea. Let's do the email bit.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. If you would like to get our emails, you can do so by going to 985thesportshub.com. We read your emails generally this time every day. It's because it requires zero preparation. Now, also, if you would like to follow us on social media, and you kind of want to think, you know, if there's a time of day you really want to get hit with an issue that makes you think, you can follow us at Toucher and Hardy on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow me at Fred Toucher, where we're building quite a little empire. And do that now, please. Please. Please.
I just came up with another.
Oh God, please!
Another take on the Bruins video. Instead of trying to shoehorn Back to the Future into this, which no one can make sense of. Like not one person has emailed, tweeted, texted anything like how that makes sense. Why Cam Neely would pick up the phone, send Charlie McAvoy as an old man from the future to deliver a sweater that they just came up with the idea for to deliver to Michael J. None of it. How about now, Fred? Your idea is excellent. Family ties.
I'm really feeling it because they paint the family in the beginning, and they could have done something fun.
They could have painted the new
right.
sweater.
Exactly. You could have had Cam Neely paint the new sweater.
Right. You want to incorporate Michael J. Fox? Why not do a spin on Secret of My Success? And what he does is he's wearing the old sweater as Brantley Foster, you know, but when he has to switch to his alter ego, Carlton Whitfield.
Yep.
Then that's in the elevator. He changes into the new sweater, and he goes back and he goes back and forth.
He's
like
got to
that.
pose too when the door's open. He has to pose,
and then he goes and he has sex with Aunt Vera.
Yeah.
in the pool house.
MILF.
I like it.
But not this prototypical MILF again.
So many possibilities.
They could have done so much better.
That was
with
the same
MILF.
actress that was in Major League. That was the owner in Major League. I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. And not great.
And the love interest is also the lead in The Legend of Billie Jean.
And also the
right?
woman who got in the car accident that Jerry reported in Seinfeld.
Oh, Helen Slater.
Yes. All right. So here we go. Here are some emails. You could have also had Doc Hollywood and had him.
Oh, I would have done that. Sitting on the beach early? Sure.
And then, he's this hotshot doctor, and Cam Neely's in this old town, and Cam Neely, he breaks through gets in an accident, and Cam Neely's like, the only solution for this is designing a new sweater. All right, so here we go. This is from Deb. It says, Freddie T, let me, your resident poppers expert and one of your 5 queer listeners. It's me. Your resident poppers expert and one of your 5 queer listeners. We have a lot of gay listeners. Stop that. Between don't give Wallach poppers after all, I don't think it's safe for bird consumption. I had to email because, come on, we did that bit on the songs of 2025. I had to email because, come on, pop music isn't for anyone but girls and the gays. And these days, it's mostly for the gays. Pop music for straight men is Imagine Dragons or some trash like that. Stay in your lane, sir. They were playing Imagine Dragons at the grocery store. I don't know why they're famous, other than the singer's muscular.
Welcome to the new day.
Yeah, they're not good songs. Yeah. And I said half those pop songs were good. Unrelated, when Andrew now this is something. Now this is a nugget.
Mm-hmm.
Unrelated, when Andrew Callahan is on, it's a modern day Howard Stern sitting on the speaker situation. If you know what I mean, winky face emoji. Quite the honk.
Really?
And I mean, 12's side profile is doing something for me from that producer camera.
Interesting.
His Instagram is all right. ...
Thank you.
Nah, Adam's ugly. Congrats on the success of the show. Thank you. Where's my girl Kendra been? Now, we can get Kendra back in the fall.
Yeah.
Kendra's off for the summer.
Yep.
And we can get her back in the fall. So Kendra will be back in the fall. It's not our decision. It's not her decision. It's just the way the cookie crumbles in this business. I love how mad incels get when she's on the air. So do I. The more people complain about her, the more I want to have her on. Happy Pride with the rainbow emoji. And that is from our friend Dev, who told us all about poppers. You understand? We talked about Nick. He was clanking around that dumb water bottle at the movies because he can't afford the sodas. Adam was co-signed on that. Justin says, I'm 100% with Nick. I bring a water bottle, and every time I go to the movies, no way I'm laying $5 for water. If they have a soda fountain where you can combine sodas, and that's one of the true treats in sober living. I mean, there's not many things that you get from a dispensary standpoint. And if you can go to a movie theater and they have like 1,000 different combinations of soda, I mean, and you're drinking water, it's like bringing sand to the beach.
So they used to have like recipes posted at the Burger King in Roslindale, how to make a couple of different of the mixture sodas. One of them, I think, was called a Black Gold, which was a Dr. Pepper Coca-Cola mixture. But I find myself doing just I'll do a version of that with just a splash of either cherry Coke or cherry Dr. Pepper. And that's set you plumb free, John. I'm
The
telling
guy
you.
who misses drinking right there.
Yeah.
When I saw the How to Train Your Dragon, I cheaped out. I got the medium soda. I went 4 times to the soda machine. That was an hour and 45 minute movie.
Every time you get up and come back, aren't you lost? You don't know what's happening in the film?
I know. I can ask. I know which level of the training the dragon's at.
All right. Did you receive this long email twice, like I did, about the Storytime version of Zoe at Honeypot Hill?
I didn't get through it.
Yes, I did.
Are you going to read the whole thing? 'Cause
No,
it's quite long.
Not the whole thing. I will do selected excerpts. Pooh and Piglet sat upon Honeypot Hill.
This is about, again, Scott having to go to the bathroom, so he goes into a Apple Orchard's bathroom.
Right, and runs from the parking lot screaming, "Do you have any pies?" Blows up the bathroom and then leaves. Doesn't buy any pies. Pooh and Piglet sat upon Honeypot Hill. All of a sudden, they heard a commotion in the distance. "Got any pies?" was heard clearly over the din. Pooh and Piglet then saw a man thunder his way toward them. "Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go," the man repeated as he pushed the two friends out of the way. He proceeded to remove his pants and grunted loudly as a calamity erupted from his bottom into the honey pot. Pooh and Piglet looked horrified. "Ha ha, his name is what I'm doing," said the man. "Hey, you don't wear any underwear too?" the man questioned Pooh. At this point in the story, I'm not going to explain because there's no toilet paper, and he looks at Piglet and comes up with a solution to the situation.
Well, that's just crass.
It
People love that Honeybot story.
The man threw Piglet on the ground and hurried off, unaware of the psychological damage he had caused the two friends. Pooh and Piglet proceeded to question why the world was so awful. While behind a tree, a gentleman emerged and approached the honeypot. Yes, yes. All for me and none for you." So thank you, Adam from Dorchester.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. This is from Dave, who emails us a lot. My favorite topic that you guys cover might be comedians and what they're doing career-wise. I don't know why it interests me so much, but it is fascinating. I'm wondering if you guys watch Tires. I like that Shane Gillis cast himself as the number 2 to a complete unknown actor/comedian and seems to relish in it. It's an interesting vehicle for him because he isn't necessarily an actor, but he's fine in that role. This show is funny and very watchable. A big thing when you're old and might have young kids with no time at night. I have seen Tires. Have you?
I have not.
Nope.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, it's like a sitcom, so it's good. It does kill time.
Shane Gillis hosting the ESPYs next month.
That's right, and I'm sure they'll really let him go. I think the fact that Shane Gillis defers and is just part of the show is what makes it very good, as opposed to Tom Segura's show, which is hot garbage because he's one of those comedians who's not actually funny. Yes, Tom Segura is not funny. He is a beneficiary of being one of those 3 other Rogan guys, along with Bert Kreischer, who's truly not funny.
See, I have enjoyed some of Tom Segura's stuff. His story about meeting Mike Tyson on a plane is excellent. It's a good comedian telling a story the way only a good comedian can. Not a lot of jokes. He's just a funny guy telling a funny story. The Bert Kreischer thing. I'm with you though. I don't get the Bert Kreischer.
Well, here's the
fascination.
problem with being a stand-up comic like Tom Segura is that he very well might have like a great half hour or a great hour, like of material, but he has 4 years worth of material, like literally like in minutes, with podcasting and podcast guest appearance and all the dumb crap he does on the internet. He might be a craftsman when it comes to being a comedian, but who would know? The thing is if you're a comedian and you put out like an hour a year and then you tour on that hour, then wow, that's a fantastic comedian. But, or even if you're John Mulaney and you put out a Netflix show once a week for 12 weeks, that's a contained amount of content. The problem with these comedians that do podcasts, and even when they get popular, there is that boost, and that's great, and they get arenas, and I'm sure they make a ton of money. But the thing is that if you're interested and you go, oh, I've heard of that guy, and you click on it, chances are it's just some day of doing a podcast, and now and it's not funny or interesting, so now why would I like you? And then you become like that kind of internet famous where like the dumb crap you do, like complaining about the airline, becomes like all people know about you. It's a real double-edged sword. It's almost like a quick rise with an immediate fall, because there's no way as a comedian who craft jokes and are so good at it, and they do it and work on material, and then when they present it to the people, it's this refined piece of art. When you're just dicking around on the internet all day, there's too much stuff out there. I think Tom Segura, from what I've just reckoned, might do 11 podcasts on a weekly basis. I mean, it's just too much crap. Like, I'm not a stand-up comedian. I'm a radio broadcaster. It's 20 hours a week. You tune in. Maybe it's not funny, but we're here to be listened to in traffic or while you're walking or doing something like that. A comedian is your full attention. This is what's going on. Like, we've created a universe, about our lives. There's things coming in and out. Like, I don't need you to turn us on at, 7:15 in the morning on a Tuesday and go, but a comedian does. Comedian's got 2 minutes of your time.
It's supposed to be, like a dedicated show with that's written, essentially.
Right. And so if you're a guest on something, especially, I hate keep coming back to radio, but if you're a guest on live radio, like you did Howard Stern, and he had you sit in, you were a part of it and had an opportunity to shine and be funny in real time, and then you were gone.
Right.
And then you came back. Opie and Anthony, you'd sit in. They'd riff on stuff. You had that opportunity. Bill Burr, Robert Kelly, these guys, they would riff, and then they were gone.
And there are very few guys who can pull it off and do both for a continued amount of time. Jim Norton is one of the guys, I think, who can be on a lot and be doing a lot of stuff.
Because Jim Norton became a radio guy. Like, Jim Norton became a radio guy, and he learned under Anthony. I mean, he'll tell you. I mean, I know him well. Like, he'd tell you. It's just that it's your show and you're hosting it, and then on top of that, you want me to think you're a great comedian. Well, no, because all I see is elephant walking with Bert Kreischer, and he's not funny. He's got a good story. He has a good story, and I don't even know how real that story is, but it doesn't matter. It's good. But that's the problem. And I would really, if I was an agent, I'd be like, all right, you're going to get this little pop.
Reel it back.
Yeah.
But reel it back.
And then when the inevitable, what's happening, pushback on Rogan comes because he's gone and made himself some political figure that my dad loves now, even though he's never heard his show. My dad just likes the idea of Joe Rogan.
But not Tucker Carlson. He doesn't matter.
Well, because Tucker Carlson went off party lines, and he doesn't like that. My dad loves Joe. He said Joe Rogan. I said, have you ever heard the show? He said, no. I said, do you know what he looks like? He said, no. But he likes the idea of him because he seems to be doing good things.
Right.
And when my dad starts thinking you're cool, there's going to be a pushback. There's going to be a very real pushback. You don't want an 82-year-old guy who voted for Nixon thinking that you're cool. That seems to me like you're not riding the wave of what's new in the world. And plus, when you're not funny yourself, which Joe Rogan decidedly is not a funny human being, and we're not going to go through the exercise of pretending that he is, because he's not a good stand-up comedian. That is an absolute fact. It's not being a hater or anything else. He is a very poor comedian.
I'll stand by some late 90s Joe Rogan stand-up that I thought was funny. But since then, I can't tell you.
Yeah, I haven't heard it, and now there is so much Joe Rogan that isn't funny or interesting, and he doesn't seem overly intelligent. That's all been very much washed away.
Well, some of the stuff that he does on his show is interesting.
Wake up. Oh, that's my friend. But I had a different name for it. It was my hand.
I wouldn't trade places with him for anything. My friend lives in Austin. He's seen him out like at the grocery store. I've told you guys this. He's got literally armed security, like getting the perimeter ready, and he needs it, I would imagine. Like, he can't go anywhere, and he's trapped in garbage Austin. Like, have you ever heard the other comedians talk about Austin? He gets them to move there, and they're like, wow, this is a dump. There's, like, vicious homeless people. The weather's terrible. The people are awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, they, like, move there, and they're like, whoops-a-daisy. Like, this sucks. Austin's the new L.A. No, I can assure you it's not. It's not at all, and it never will be. It's not a good place to live. And right when my friend moved, Rogan started his nonsense, and now my friend's got to live there with every lunatic moving in. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
1-800 quit now. A Celtics offseason full of big moves.
The Celtics traded 35-year-old Drew Holiday to Portland late last night.
News is breaking.
We got news, everybody.
Trades are taking place.
Boston, Atlanta, and Brooklyn had a 3-team trade today. Kristaps Porzingis.
And it all happens right here.
Another move is coming. I feel it.
Your home for Boston Celtics basketball 365. 98.5, the Sports Hub. Toucher and Hardy.
Such an fantastic explosion.
98.5, the Sports Hub. We know what you're thinking. What could I possibly have missed from the show? It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
All right, I want to read this email. I'm sorry. This is a pretty good story. It's just about a comedian, so it goes into this. This guy's friend worked at the Hampton Beach Casino Ballroom in the 2000s. All right, he says, one night the comedian Gallagher was comedian Gallagher, and he was going on in 5 minutes. My friend goes to grab him, but he's not in the dressing room. He looks around, and he's nowhere to be found. So my buddy starts panicking, thinking he's going to get fired. And when he finally walks through the kitchen and onto the back porch near the dumpsters, there's Gallagher just sitting there alone on the stairs, crying his eyes out. My friend gently asks if he's okay, and Gallagher just looks at him with tears streaming and says, I effed up my whole effing life. My friend has no idea what to say, so he just goes, you're on in 5. Gallagher nods, gets up, wipes the tears from his face, puts on a smile, and heads to the stage and does his act like nothing happened. The next week, the guest is Dave Attell, and my friend tells him the story. Dave just shrugs and says, tears of a clown, man. And that's from Ben. That is, God. And then we have a comedian, Mark, who says, I was in a comedy group in the 90s when Joe Rogan was coming up. In short, he stole jokes. One of the most reviled comics in town back in the day. His biggest crime isn't stealing jokes. It's that he's not funny. He steals jokes to make them worse. His success is not based on comedic ability, but simple grievance.
Wasn't Joe Rogan in some viral video where he's out on the street?
What made him, well, he's good looking. He was good looking before the hormones took control, but he was a good looking guy. So he was good. He's a decent actor. He was good on news radio, which I liked that show, and I thought he was good on it. He did Fear Factor, so he's somewhat famous, right?
Yeah.
He was a regular at the Comedy Store, but when he got famous was when he got up on stage with Carlos Mencia and called him out for stealing jokes. And that went viral like in the beginning days of the internet. So in my opinion, Rogan was like a guy who was hanging around Hollywood and like getting roles, but then that kind of put him into a new stratosphere. To my knowledge, and I know Stern played Rogan in the 90s, for the era that you're talking about. I don't remember the jokes that he played because I didn't really hear Stern back then, but I know just from me being a dork that like Rogan was like in that universe for a minute. But I think that's what made him very famous.
All right.
And then he took the idea that Anthony Cumia had of doing the Compound Show, and that's why he started his podcast. He admits it, but it's not stealing. It was an idea that it was in the universe, and that's how he started his podcast. And now he needs armed security to secure the perimeter when he goes out to the grocery store.
All right. Something you do like, Fred, is the movie Dirty Work.
Yes.
In Los Angeles right now, they're doing screenings of Dirty Work, the dirtier cut.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the story behind this, according to one of the co-writers, is he said, this is not exactly a director's cut or even the cut that the writers wanted. What happened was the filmmakers submitted the original cut to the Motion Picture Association of America in hopes of getting a PG-13. They were told, we have no notes for you because this is so far from getting a PG-13, you just have to go back and start all over. So they cut a PG-13 version and then cut a little less out for an R-rated version, and that is the version that is being screened for test audiences. They said the original one, they're like, it's kind of like lost and gone because it was never commercially released, but it is some combination of all of those.
Yeah, it's funny because I actually know about this story. They couldn't make a director's cut because, like you said, the archival footage doesn't exist. Like it's gone.
Yes.
So they just have this. But in fairness, it was a huge hit as a PG-13.
Right. It made $10 million and it had a budget of $13 million.
Yeah.
which they say in the article automatically puts it up for cult status.
Yeah.
Rule number 1 to be in a cult movie, you have to lose money.
Right.
That's number 1.
I mean, Dirty Work's not, and Saget directed it, like, Dirty Work's not like a very good movie, but the idea of him being a romantic lead and the way he handles it is a delight. He's just so incredibly uncomfortable as the romantic lead. It's wonderful. All right, that'll do it for us. Everyone have a wonderful day.